El primer foro metropolitano de Ciudades Inteligentes es un espacio para conocer las formas en las que la tecnología mejorará la calidad de vida de los ciudadanos. Será un evento gratuito con certificación de participación entre el 27 y el 30 de julio, que será transmitido a través de la plataforma de YouTube del área metropolitana del Valle de Aburrá. Inscríbete ya en www.metropol.go.co.
Área Metropolitana del Valle de Aburrá. Futuro sostenible.
Warm greetings for everybody that's being connected around the world. The third day of Intelligent Cities. Through this journey, Juan Camilo Holguín, who has been with us, and we hope that you all enjoy all these experiences. Hello, Juan Camilo, how are you doing? Linda, I'm very excited. Thank you it's a pleasure to be here with you. And good day to all the participants. Good afternoon and good night. Today, like we said, we are very enthusiastic because we have had a great response from the audience, and we hope that today the response is massive. We've had more than 1,000 people connected through the platforms, knowing about the things that we have learned, innovation and technology, that the countries are having around the world, but what we're doing from our territory to impact the citizen. And today we're going to speak about that. I remind you that you can get connected through the social network, Área Metropol, through YouTube. Yes, Juan Camilo, and today we have a very interesting topic. We are going to speak today about ecosystems that are innovative, and to know about the experiences and the exchange of what we have seen in other cities and locally in the metropolitan municipalities. So we invite you all, like Camilo said, to participate through social media and tell us for you what is an intelligent, a smart and innovative ecosystem. We are going to do a summary of what we lived yesterday so that people get connected and have very clear what we have been studying during these 3 journeys of this first forum of smart cities. Yesterday, we had local talent. We knew about the initiatives of municipalities like Itagüí. We had the mayor here with us, and we were speaking about the initiatives of Bilbao in Spain, London, Camboya, El Salvador, and Uruguay. And the director, Juan David Palacio Cardona, is going to be with us to tell us a summary of what we have lived and give you a official welcome to this 3rd journey. So, Juan Camilo, please participate. Pound, and we are also going to have translation. Si nos están escuchando, recuerden que esto también está en inglés. And we are also in Portuguese and in Spanish so that we can get connected. Because this is really transformative and very important for the territory. Today we have a very interesting journey. We're going to have Bello municipality's mayor and international experiences. For example, we have experiences from Latin America, countries like Bolivia, Chile, and Peru, and Mexico here in Central America, and stories from Malaysia and Germany. So we are all ready, Linda. And we want to welcome the Director of Metropolitan Area, Juan David Palacio. Warm greetings. Linda, good day, good afternoon, and good night, because we have people connected from different parts around the world. And for us, it is very important to make the metropolitan area visible in this first forum of smart cities, because we know that there are all around the world competences and new discoveries, but here, this area of El Valle de la Borra, we are generating it so to speak about smart cities. I want to greet today the local mayors, the mayor, Bello's mayor, the mayor also from Caldas, and the north and the south of the Valley of Aburrá. I would also like to greet very specially the international speakers like Marco Bonduchush, Angelica Sousa, Mariano Muñoz from Olmo, Michael Charles, and Rosail Bin Muhammad. These are international speakers of the highest level, and we are going to have presence from Germany, Bolivia, Mexico, Chile, Malaysia, and Peru. But I would like to tell you a few things that we achieved yesterday with the participation of international speakers from Cambodia, to say that technology can solve a lot of behaviors and dynamics that needs the territory, but it generated repression to point out that we have to respect the rights of human beings. And it's a very good observation, and we have to go forward to solve dynamics and difficulties. But the use of technology can also be a barrier where we can violate some of these errors. So we have to improve competitiveness, but of course, always remember to respect the rights of the people. Who has the information has the power, and that is to have the databases. Today, I know that everybody has profiles. I'm 33 years old, director of Metropolitan area. What do I like, where I live? That information is open, it's very basic, and those that handle technology can design algorithms to translate our behavior according to our different interests. And this can be good, but it also can be bad because of the protection of the rights. So you can conclude that from the presentation that we had yesterday, to build a sustainable territory technologically, but respecting the legal guarantees based on the human rights. On the other hand, the experience about London, a swab, area of protected air in the zone 1 of London, in the heart of London. It is there where they achieved to have very controlled the situation based on modulations, control mobility, and improve quality air, and improve the air quality. And this can be done with technology. And these are experiences that we have learned in our metropolitan area, so that we can solve some situation about quality of air. And London is very much advanced in this area. Some areas are even restricted for vehicle transportation, and they analyze and do algorithms, and they use methods so that they can keep the dynamic of the territory without altering their function, and always trying to improve the lives of the people, but also being competitive. Now, today, in this forum, it's the first Metropolitan Forum from the metropolitan area, because we want to build knowledge, information, to translate it in reality with clear public policy in our Valley of Aburrá. Thank you so much for everybody that is here and listening to us. We are ready to continue with this forum. Thank you, Juan David Palacio, Director of Metropolitan Area, and with this brief summary of what we could see yesterday, I believe, Linda, that we can start with the talks today. Yes, we speak with the local. Let's start with the local. in the north of the Valley of Aburra, with a lot of problems in the territory. But it is important to understand what we're doing in the territory to solve the problems and have the citizen in the center. We're going to touch topics like security, but also quality air, connectivity, and these are terms that we have seen during these 3 days. In the environment and sustainability, we want to welcome the mayor of Bello, Oscar Andres Perez, to share the advancements of this locality in the north about smart cities. So he will be with us on stage. Good day, everybody. Thank you to all the audience. You can start your talk. Well, first of all, and I know that we have had other mayors, and about security, connectivity, sustainability. So we speak about smart cities. Where is our city headed? Advancing like a smart city and achieving from a model that was part of our development plan to cover the needs of the social demands. We know that Bello has had a lot of historical problems, and because of the growth and the expansion that it has had, we, from this development plan, these 4 years, we are using a great instrument that corresponds to review and approve, and that's the ordering of the land plan, the POT called in Spanish, but also with thinking of our border cities with Medellin, Copacabana, and the region of the north of the Valley of Aburra. When we speak of sustainability, when we speak about development, we have to think about cities that it could sound redundant, cities for the citizens. And this is a topic that we have been working on in the metropolitan area, that it's not easy to break a paradigm and change the stereotypes that have been set a long time ago, doing modification to the roads. We are trying to change that paradigm, and we want a city directly for the citizen, that it's an ecosystem thought directly on the citizen. Of course, we have to think about the vehicles, we have to think about connectivity, how they move, but first of all, that our cities are protagonists facing the behavior of the citizen. So we have a task of setting great projects. One of them is trying to make more pedestrian walkways of our city. Bello, in its central core, has great challenges according to the services. Here we have banks, we have commerce, we have public transportation. So we wanted to work on that space and improve it for the citizens. And it really helped us, the pandemic, because we are adding another component, and that is social distancing. And we are working in several projects of the city with our marketplace, like a place that is ecologic, sustainable for economic development, resilient place for our city. And after that, we have 4 projects that have a broad component in the social area, where we have to face security problems, but not only speaking about the public force and the coercive actions. We have been overcoming this, and we have a calm city where we have reduced criminal indexes more than 70%, mostly the high impact like murders, because we have worked with institutionality, but also with a great offer of social development. The heart of opportunities, the decentralization of services. Galileo 2.0, it's a program of education so that they can have access to college or universities. So we have helped them to subsidize these people. And there's a beautiful project called Center for the Elderly during the day. And this is a very important space for them to improve their quality of life. So we have also the creation of our Sports and Recreation Center of Inderbello. There are other projects of that ecosystem, urban ecosystem, to be sustainable in the future. And here we have some writers that we have learned from them, like Gildo Seidedos. He is a writer from Madrid, where he says that the city has to be connected only in not only through utilities, but in transportation, institutional offer, in all these pedestrian walkways. And we have learned also from him another protagonist that we have also learned from, one of those great Italian writers, like it was Francisco Tonucci. There's a very good book called The City of the Children. In this book, he writes about the importance of public space, and the children have to be protagonists. In our city, in Bello, we have delivered to the community in the main park. It's a small road school, and it's part of tactical urbanism and giving the children education. And from here, they will continue learning. If we teach today how it is to stop, when to stop, the colors of the traffic lights, how to respect pedestrian, when they grow up, they're going to be educated. So we have made Bello a sustainable city. It's called the Northern Boulevard. We are going to change the infrastructure of our city. We're going to improve it with a great component of environment, with more landscape, with more trees, and that is generous in connectivity of the bicycles and the pedestrians, with the 3 stations, Madera, Bello, and Niquia. We are going to have a mega school and children daycare centers. Bello does not have a university still, but we want to have a university in Bello. We already filed a request to the ministry so that Bello can have our own public university, and the center would be Comuna 6. It has been an area of conflict. It has been stigmatized. It's called the neighborhood Pacelli, and it used to be a very dangerous place, and we pretend in a big infrastructure we want to have a university right there. So we hope for the generosity of the national government. Yesterday we were launching Edu Norte, like for a big strategy of strengthening fiscally. And here we have 2 projects Cerro Quitasol, and parks of arts and offices. And we are trying to change the view and try to make the people see other areas, two emblematic icons of sustainability, like the river Aburrá and the hill Quitasol or Cerro Quitasol. We are doing a great intervention in this hill, reforesting, recovering the old paths. And here we have a great offer of fauna and flora that we are going to continue to protect. We are doing a big intervention with Cor Antioquia, Metropolitan area, to continue the protection of Cerro Quitasol. And the Park of Arts is recovering the old railway tracks, and it's going to have a great educational offer for administration, for culture, and for public space.
This will be one of the most ambitious projects regionally. Its epicenter, it's in our city. The offer will be decentralized to the different municipalities. The offer will be to the north of the valley of Aburrá, to Bajo Cauca, Magdalena Medio, different municipalities, and we'll have the possibility to graduate in technologies, technological careers, so our youth can have access to the market to work in these different office. And as we have a better air, as we have a better mobility, and our next organization plan, our development plan, is saying that, well, this project that we already structure with the Metro of Medellin is a transportation with medium capacity. That way, our city will be among the most modern cities of the region, even of the worldwide, with the connectivity of the Metro of Medellin. We have lots to learn from Medellin, from the public policies of transportation that have been developed since 1974-75, and that today it's physical. It's in the metro, in the bicycle routes, in the metro cable. And that's why we want to include these. This is one of our proposals, to have a transportation system that will be aerial, communicating in 3 stations to improve the mobility and to have a better quality of air in our city. And to talk about intelligent cities, well, we have a great project to change all the lights of our city, street lights, moving them from sodium to LED, and to have a telemanagement system that will allow us to multiply the video security of our city, to have more connectivity through the optical fiber, and to improve the data in our city. Who is so wandering around our city? What are the services that are being consumed? How is this being done? And with this telemanagement system, we are doing it already, and we are wanting to improve it. So as it was mentioned a while ago, this is a bet that we're doing in our city to recover the public space, since we have very ambitious projects to deliver to our city, more than 400,000 square meters of public space during these 4 years. This is a very ambitious bet, but this will reduce the deficit of public space that we have per inhabitants. The international mean says that we have between 15 to 18 square meters per inhabitant. We have 700,000 inhabitants, and the average, the percentage that we have, it does not reach 5 square meters of public space per inhabitant. So that's why we are doing this huge bet. And we want to include this to the corridor of the river, the Aburrá River. So we'll have the Central Park, sports unit, an aquatics unit. We'll have an art and park. And in this ecosystem that I've been mentioning, from the main market park, with the 3 stations, we'll have a big public space with urbanism, and with the good visual strategy of tactic urbanism. And we started in our city in the main road that leads to the Central Park. We are developing a theme that leads us to recall what does it mean. What is the meaning of our city from its beginning with the industrial projects, with textiles, with the railroads, what the railroads mean, and the textiles of this very important company that's been located in our city for many years. So that's why we're working on the tactical urbanism to develop these, being generous towards the citizen in the public space. And as I mentioned before, our city, well, we're betting on Bello 4.0, taking advantage of the fourth revolution technologies, using the amicable platforms, helping our citizens, and soon we will be doing telemanagement. We'll have an integration as an intelligent city, and all these projects will lead us to make of Bello of a city that will be a leader on the north of the metropolitan area. And that way, as I always finish, together we will continue building that beautiful Bello, making it a sustainable city, amicable city, going hand in hand with the environment, but mainly a city facing the citizen. And so thank you, Major Oscar Andres, from the city of Bello, and telling us sharing all this information that's so important for the citizens. Thank you very much and have a good day. So we are in intelligent territory. This shows that we have great initiatives to share with the world in this first forum, all the news we can share. So yes, Juan Camilo, thanks to all of those who are connected in our YouTube channel. Around 600 people are connected. We hope more will connect. And please recall things that are the major from Bello was telling us, the bet for the public space. Many people were writing and chatting, telling us about the difficulty that the public space has. And the major was sharing how he's working to help all these 700,000 inhabitants to improve the public space, what's related to the tactical urbanism, also education on the roads. There are difficulties, but the intelligent territories are overcoming all these difficulties. Yes, Linda, our next speaker comes from Europe, from Germany, but let's talk before that about the integration in around the city of Bello, about safety, security, because this is a territory that has difficulties in terms of delinquency, high impact. But considering the safety, the security, not only with the police, but with the lights, street lights, with the LED transformation. Also, they are going to have more surveillance cameras. And with the data, as the director saying, those who have knowledge have the power. So it is important to know what's happening with our citizens to see how the different entities can work. Also, citizen education, like the major from Mejo was sharing. This municipality will have its own university, and to articulate with a project Galileo 2.0. And it's interesting as the majors are sharing with us that they have difficulties, but they have opportunities, and the 10 municipalities of the metropolitan area are working together in order to advance. Okay, so it's important to learn about new and other initiatives. So who's our next guest, Linda? Juan Camilo, we have Marco Bontuchuch. He's the Chief of International Economical Affairs of the city of Nuremberg. Welcome, Marco.
Can you see me? Yes.
¿Me pueden oír?
Thank you. Okay. So, thank you very much for having me invited to your, now I see. Okay, thank you very much for having me here and invited to your forum, International Metropolitan Forum, and I'm very honored to speak about our way to a smart city, which is called Digitales Nürnberg. Digital Nuremberg. And I will start now my presentation. So, located at the conjunction of important trade routes like the Silk Road, Nuremberg was for centuries a well-known trading point where inventive genius and entrepreneurial spirit have met. The city has continued to develop its trade routes as well as its historic leading edge as a center of knowledge and trade. On this slide, you can see some products that were invented in Nuremberg and in the region. The first one on the left side, it's a handkerchief, invented 1929. In Germany, it's called Tempo. In America, you know it on it's Kleenex. Then the highlight, I think every one of you is using this product every day. Then 1974, the little plastic figures from Playmobil were invented, and they are sold all over the world. And last but not least, the MP3 format. This is the MP3 format is a grandfather for today's streaming services like Spotify, and this was invented at the Fraunhofer Institute in Erlangen. Today, Nuremberg is a stronghold of technology, industry, and innovative services. It is an adorable and worthy to live city. And the region is one of the most dynamic high-tech centers in Europe. So this was my little short introduction to my hometown Nuremberg. Now let's have a look at the business location and the economic power. Nuremberg is located at the north of Bavaria, and it's a business and cultural base of the Nuremberg metropolitan region. The city has around about 530,000 inhabitants, and the metropolitan region around about 3.6 million people. The gross domestic, the GDP of Nuremberg is around about 30 billion euros. It's like the GDP of Latvia, another country in Europe, and the metropolitan region is around about 147 billion euros. It's around about 90% of New Zealand's GDP. The export quota is relatively high. It's around about 50%. So this means every second product is produced for the export, or every second euro is earned abroad. You can reach Nuremberg by car, by plane. We have an international gateway with connections to all major hubs in Europe. It's Frankfurt, Amsterdam. Taking the train to Munich, it's only 1 hour. To Berlin, it's 3 hours. And you can also reach Nuremberg by ship. The main Danube Canal is the link between the two river systems, Main and Danube. And it's a 3,500 kilometer waterway from the North Sea to the Black Sea. On this slide, you can see and find more than 150 global leaders and hidden champions in the metropolitan region. There is a concentration around Nuremberg, but you see also that a lot of companies have their branches or headquarters in the rural region, and this is a very advantage because you find well-paid and high-qualified jobs also in the rural region, and not only in the big cities like Nuremberg or Munich. And this is for the younger people very good. And last but not least, a very interesting figure. It's the rate of employment in the ICT sector. ICT is the information and computer technology sector. And here you can see that Nuremberg is top 3 behind Munich and Bonn with a rate of 10.5%. And we are above the average of Germany, which is around about 5.2, and Bavaria, it's 6.5. This means 10% of all employees in Nuremberg are working in the ICT sector, and this is very important also for smart city, for the infrastructure, for the ideas, for the new application, for everything it means. So there's a very powerful, there are very powerful employees in Nuremberg. The digital transformation is a comprehensive process. It affects not only the municipality, economy, or science, but the entire urban society in all areas of life. In my second part of the presentation, I will show you the different stages and steps the municipality has implemented on the way to a smart city. The first step is, please involve your stakeholders. Ask your stakeholders, bring your stakeholders to our table and discuss with them. Ask them for their needs, for their wishes, everything. We put together the communities, the urban society, the economy, the politicians, the universities and institutions. All these people and communities came together and discussed what is a smart city, what do they want from a smart city, what are the fears of a smart city, all these questions. The second step is define a vision. And our vision is that we want to improve the people's qualities of life. We use new digital solutions to secure prosperity and make the city fit for the future. This is our vision, based on the discussion with their stakeholders. And then, third step, the mission. And our mission is that we want to discuss and test concrete ideas together with society, economy, and science to find the right solutions for Nuremberg. And the results of these 3 steps are the strategic guidelines. And these guidelines are the first part of our overall strategy. and is the framework for the city administration, also for us, to design and manage the digital transformation. And you can see the 4 fields we have defined. Perhaps the first field is innovation and competence. And these are the first part. The second part, you can see, it's the roadmap. And the roadmap shows the topics and perspectives that push Nuremberg forward to a digital city. Part 1 and part 2 are the strategy Digitales Nürnberg, Digital Nuremberg. And this is, as I said, the guidelines and roadmaps. This is our book for the road to a smart city. The roadmap, in the roadmap, we define 5 topics. The first one is mobility of family, education, also culture, and last but not least, data, infrastructure, and urban online service. These are the topics which are defined for the roadmap. And based on all this, we created the House of Smart City. We called it House of Smart City because the basement, it's the infrastructure. You see it here. You need a good infrastructure. You need Wi-Fi. You need, everything for digital for a smart city. But the 2 columns, important columns, are the urban society and the citizens, the economy, the science, and the communities. These both 2 columns carries the roof, which is the roof are the strategical guidelines and the roadmap. And here you can see some smaller columns, pillars. These are the special strategies which are located in the different departments. So the Department for Economic Development have our own special strategy for the economy, and the Department for Family and Environment has their own special strategies. But all these pillars or columns, the society, the special strategies, or the economy, there carries all the roof of this House of Smart City. In my third part, I would like to show you some use cases we have implemented in Nuremberg, or we will implement in the future. The first one is the topic mobility, energy, environment from the roadmap. Here you can see on the left side the application, the app Nuremberg Mobil. This application collects all data for public transport and for rental bikes. These red dots are all locations for rental bikes. And so you can buy your ticket for the public transport with this application. You can find a rental bike, and you find also the timetables for your underground line 3, for example. Here in the middle, there are also red dots all around the city. These are mobility points, and this is the connectivity between the public transport and rental cars. Here, maybe you can see this is a station of the underground. These rental cars are mostly located nearby a station, underground station or tramway station. So you can start your journey, your trip, taking the bus, then change to the underground, and at the end, for the last miles, you can take a rental car and go home and drive home. And the third example is a self-backdrop, which will be implemented at the Nuremberg Airport Albrecht Dürer in the next few weeks. And here you can check in your luggage by yourself, and you get the badge for drop-off also. And so you need no per people anymore and no counter anymore. The next example is for the future. This is a real-world laboratory, and this is the new district in the south of Nuremberg, and it's called Lichtenreuth. Nuremberg is one of 11 model municipalities in Bavaria, which are funded by the Bavarian State Ministry for Housing, Building and Transport as part of the model project Smart Cities, Smart Region. And a real-world laboratory offers the opportunity to try out new approaches and gain experience. This creates the opportunity to bring innovations onto the road, test their benefits for Nuremberg, and thus actively create a basis for decision-making. So you can see here on the slide, this is a district, new district. It's around about 100 hectares, and 37 hectares are reserved for the new University of Technology Nuremberg. And this is located here in the south. These buildings here and here are located, are reserved for the university. The universities will have in future around about 5,000 to 6,000 students and 200 to 240 professors. And how will we, or how is the concept for participation for this new district, Lichtenreuth? We started at the beginning of July in this year with a kickoff, and here we did the analysis and the status quo, and we thought about what can we do regarding smart city in this new district. In June and July, there will be expert interviews, and based on these interviews, we will have a SWOT analysis. A SWOT means strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threat. September, October, we will do some workshops, and the result of these workshops will be, as I told you, as I said in the beginning, a mission, a strategy, and the goals for this new district. Training and coaching is on demand if you want. Next year in Q1, we will have an online participation for the urban society, for the communities, for everyone. And based on this and the workshop and the interviews, we will do the concepts of measures and financing. And last but not least, in summer 2022, we will have a big conference where we will present the final concept. And when the final concept is done, then the implementation of the new district Lichtenreuth will start. And this is how we invite for participation our stakeholders in Nuremberg. Thank you very much for your attention, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Thank you.
Well, yes, Marco, I have a question for you. I will ask you, tell us some advices to their cities that are planning to start the Smart City strategy.
So I don't hear anything. Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes.
Okay, I will ask you I have a question for you. Tell us some advices to other cities that are planning to start the Smart City strategy.
Yes. As I said, invite all your stakeholders. Talk with the urban society, with the universities, because they have so much ideas. They know a lot. Also the economy. What are the wishes of the economies? So the stakeholders are very important, and they have to be involved in in the process of a smart city. Because without the stakeholders, you plan something that is not adaptable, or the community don't want it, and so you have spent a lot of money and time, and then the other says, no, we don't want it, please put it away.
Well, thank you so much, Marco, for being here with us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bueno, era la intervención de Marco von Dobschutz directamente desde la ciudad de Nuremberg en Alemania. Estábamos viendo algo que yo creo que no habíamos visto durante estos 3 días de
Seen
jornadas.
in these 3 days journeys, and it has been very interesting. Now we are seeing the creation of new products for the services of the citizens. First, we saw some examples that were created in these cities and that are used around the world. For example, the clinics. And we also see some things for the future. What about the ideas of keeping your bags outside the airport? Yes, because since 1929, they have been inventing some devices that have been a trend all around the world. And let's hope that the new things that are coming are going to benefit many people. And other cities may have the idea also to replicate this. And Juan Camilo, also the organization and the way of structuring the ideas, it was like a house where the roof has to do with the guidelines, the map. In the center, they had the strategies. In the floor, we have other strategies, and the pillars are economy, science, community, and on the other side, urban society. So the Germans are very well organized culturally. So very interesting, this feedback for the people that are enjoying for this forum of smart cities, this experience. Now we have another guest from Germany. Now we have another speaker of smart cities, Angelica Sousa Perovic. She's going to bring strategies from the city of Santa Cruz de la Sierra from Bolivia. Let's listen to her experiences, because we know that Bolivia is a country close to Colombia, but we have a lot of differences in geography and that they are difficult to handle. We have to consider what are our challenges to be able to face solutions. So these exchanges of experiences are incredible. So now we have Angelica Sousa from Perovic. Angelica, thank you so much for being here in Smart Cities. Thank you, Juan David. Greetings to all. For me, it is an honor and a great opportunity to participate. Germany, Peru, Chile, Malaysia, Barcelona, Colombia. And today we are here and very happy to be able to participate, like starting my talk. I'm going to give you a 2-minute video so that you learn a little bit about the locality. Thank you for this opportunity.
Santa Cruz de la Sierra, la pequeña ciudad que en 1561 fue asentada justo en el centro de Sudamérica.
In the center of South America. Today it's the most important city of Bolivia, a city that has grown all the time. It has a lot of vitality and keeping a very hospitality environment. And it's a very kind town, like in the old times, and very close together. And today we are a privileged city with a very warm climate. We have a lot of green and happiness that is contagious. In 50 years, Santa Cruz de la Sierra grew 18 times, and they created a lot of new ecologic centers. We have 200 parks that are protected, 1,200 plazas, we have wetlands, and we have a botanical garden with 1,600 species. Santa Cruz destines 80% to social well-being. We have more than 70 hospitals, and we have free health to guarantee access to this right to 100% of our citizens. We have 250 modern schools with more than 7,000 classrooms. 79% of the students of the municipality is complemented with 16 libraries and cultural centers where we have free education in different kinds of arts, music, and chess, 690 areas for sports, different kinds of fields and coliseums. And the passions of the people in Santa Cruz is overwhelming. We are a small city, but 50 years ago, we only had 110,000 inhabitants, and right now we have 2 million inhabitants that wants to push forward.
Santa Cruz de la Sierra, Bolivia,
Santa Cruz de la Sierra, Bolivia, a territory that includes the environment and is looking for possibility of social and economic development. Now, Angelica Souza, the mic is yours, so tell us a little bit about your city. Thank you so much, Juan David, for your explanation. To those that are with us in the experience, Santa Cruz de la Sierra is a passionate people that work together, that we work with our hearts. I had the chance to work with a great mayor, Percy Fernandez. I have been president of the council. I was also a mayor replacing this man. And I am going to try to summarize how the smart ecosystem has a really impact in the city, in the citizens and the city itself. We want to work with our hearts. Many times we don't speak about love, but it's the only way that we have been able to move forward in all the achievements of a city that is integrated, that has cooperatives, and that everybody is working towards development. We are very passionate and very proud of our Santa Cruz. It is here where we can start seeing, like the video says, it's the symbol of economic growth and the industrial area for development of Bolivia. We are part of ethnicity of smart people that are very proud of our land. We are very Catholic people. Here is Basílica Menor de San Lorenzo. Here Santa Cruz is the capital of the department, and we are in Andrés Ibáñez, and we are in 40,000 urban hectares and 100,000 rural hectares. We're the 5th most populated city of Bolivia, and we have borders with 4 municipalities. We are a little bit behind. We have formed the metropolitan area, and that during the pandemic we got together, and it's important that the world can understand this plane of 1928, then the plan of 1956, and then 1958. We have a radial city like it's circular, that has overcome all the growth that was projected. In 1920, we only had 10,000 inhabitants, and today we are around 2 million inhabitants. It's a city that offers a lot of opportunities, not only for the citizens, but to the whole country, because we are a very diverse country. We are a very rich country that has different climates, and we fight for a social equality, efficiency, and sustainability in ecology. It's one of the big bets. We have natural borders in the west zone. We have the river Piraí. There's a great extension to the north, to the south, and to the east of the city. And today, when we want to reach a fourth ring, and this is a great challenge for those that have been administering the public part. There are some associations that are public and private and public associations, and we are all working towards development. What did we have 15 years ago? We had services concentrated in the center, and we wanted to expand all these services: health, education, culture, recreation. We did a great development in education. Santa Cruz de la Sierra has we have 14 square meters for inhabitants. So we are a green city, a city with opportunities that takes care of the environment. Our main objective was to have a modern and dignified education for all. Like you saw, we are divided in rings, and a child that lives in the center or in the periphery, they have the same possibilities to go to school, the same conditions. And in that sense, we are fighting for social equality in a city that is constantly growing. This is the transformation. This is before and after. This is what we achieved with a great effort in 15 years. This is what we have achieved. We have 250 schools that have 450,000 students of the public education, but schools with a lot of green, not only for the space. Here it is very hot, so we want them to be green with trees, and we want to be able to have a city that you can fall in love with, that will give you conditions for services, but conditions in taking care of the environment. Another bet in 2016, it was free health for everybody. No matter where you live, you have free health. This really helped during the pandemic. We have 83 health centers at first and second levels that are handled by the municipality.
If we look the public recreative spaces, well, today we have a transformation that I heard from another of the majors. In these spaces, we're saving energy. We're using LED lights. We started in the periphery, and then we went to the middle, and we have public spaces that today have more than 100 protected parks over with a large number of trees. And it's important to highlight that all these areas are of free access. Me, as part of the team of professionals who are betting for the scale changes, I work in this area of developing these parks, and we've been able to have a great advancement that gives a different level of city that goes hand in hand with the environment. So these were areas with no trees 15 years ago. We've planted 4 million trees. We have our own greenhouses. The botanical garden has 217 hectares. We have an environmental education center working in the recovery of the environment and the protected areas. We have 1,500 squares. We have these beautiful trees, alcornoques, torochis, green, purple and yellow tajivos. So it's very colorful, and we have developed public spaces like the Cambódromo. This is a lineal park where we have a carnival. There's great activity today. We see there's a big forest here, trees, and it's developed with international organisms. And we have the Metropolitan Piraí Park that will bring together all the municipalities that belong to the metropolitan area. In terms of security, safety, it's a concern not only of Santa Cruz, of America, of the world. We're developing centers, and it is important in these policies to bring justice to the neighborhoods with what our neighbor needs, judges, police. We've developed infrastructure, making the city so the person, wherever they are located, in the downtown or in the peripheral area, we have 15 districts, and we have 3 that are rural, that have 100,000 hectares, and have all these possibilities as well. We have public libraries, cultural centers, and theater, and people can share all the culture in these areas. We are also working in sports for everybody, working in these concepts. We began in the metropolitan area exchanging projects and providing these facilities to all the inhabitants. We also worked, since I was the president of the council, we were betting towards women, so we had free care for kindergartens, that they are colorful, they have great quality of attention, and today they're distributed within the whole city, and they're free. We also have an intelligent municipality building that is within a very beautiful park that's protected, and this system is being recovered through the whole city of Santa Cruz de la Sierra. So we have this new administration in this new building that has the challenge to continue advancing and becoming a city of the future. The public lighting, well, we are betting upon intelligent ecosystems, in telemanagement, LED street lights, and we are integrating, not only changing to this new technology in Santa Cruz de la Sierra, but in the whole metropolitan area. These LED lights in the avenues and green areas not only saves electricity, but it cares for the environment. Something very important, I think it's one of the few cities in the world. We have a law of health law that has something that might be forgotten by many governments, which is this beautiful place with for funerary rooms for people these funerary
homes are placed throughout the city. So we have, so these funeral homes are placed around the city, and they were decorated by our artisans. So we involved our artisans, and we offer this free service to the population. People were selling on the streets and in many Latin American cities. So we did this kind of markets or network of services. This is a large one, has 2.5 hectares, and we moved. This is a huge challenge to continue moving all the people who sell on the streets, but we have developed these centers. This was the condition a couple of years ago. People were, we improved the spaces, and I love to show this slide. These are our friendly markets with fruits and with our people that are always happy and content. Okay, urban mobility is a challenge for all, and I believe this is the only thing that was outside of the development. We still have the old transportation system. But right now, the administration is debating on the different technical instances. But this is how it starts, with modern conditions to have universal accessibility with cameras. But basically, this is a clean transportation system mobilized by gas. And well, in order to talk about, to be able to belong to these cities that have these great challenges, that, well, we have to bet in order to move forward and to have a great metropolitan transportation. We have a plan where Colombia also was involved. The Japanese corporation also helped us. So Santa Cruz has these challenges in placing these innovations. There's something that people forget about, which is homes for cats and dogs. So I have 6 pets. And people here love animals, so we have these service, these hostels or shelters for pets. So the Great Santa Cruz includes 8 municipalities: Guarnes, Montero, Portachuelo, Buenavista, Bélgica, Porongo, El Torno, Guarigo, Totoca. And what have we done in this metropolization process that we began 2 years ago? Well, we have the challenge now to integrate it. And since Colombia, as I've heard from the lectures that you have moved forward in this, well, we want to have a transparent, productive, competitive metropolitan that's sustainable, that has its own identity. We're very proud of our identities. We needed to have participation. So COVID brought us together, and here we have the confirmation of the metropolitan area that's approved by municipality laws. And our governor is going to activate this law. And we brought the efforts together. When we come together, because there are no limits, no barriers, we become better and stronger. So these are pictures. And what do we want? We want to make the Great Santa Cruz a city of opportunities, a city with an identity, a city that will make us proud. Well, we are proud of this productive land. There are teams of people from the private and the public sector that make Santa Cruz of la Sierra to be the 14th most developed city of the world. So Santa Cruz is a small, was a small city with 500 inhabitants in the 80s. And today we have 2 million inhabitants with many challenges. We've changed a lot during this last 15 years. I had the opportunity to participate with my profession from the council and from the mayor's office. So I'm so delighted to share with you Santa Cruz de la Sierra with the world. Thank you, Angelica from Santa Cruz de la Sierra, for your intervention. We have many people through our YouTube channel making great comments about this participation, highlighting how in this city they have an equilibrium between the modern and the ancestral, and at the same time a green and intelligent city. Well, you can see the intelligent public space, how this is integrated with the environment. Santa Cruz de la Sierra in Bolivia, beautiful city that has lots to offer to the world in terms of intelligence, and that today we can denominate it an intelligent city. It is an example because as time goes by, it has growth exponentially, because Angelica is telling us that there are 2 million inhabitants in the metropolitan area that's betting on to becoming an intelligent city, and the expansion of the population has been a great opportunity for this growth. So we will continue sharing these experiences in our first Metropolitan Forum of Intelligent Cities. And we are moving now to Mexico. We have Mariano Munoz, representative of the Agency of Innovation, Public Innovation. So let's see our connection with Mariano. He's going to share with us how this city that has many inhabitants, how it faces the challenge of becoming an intelligent city. Innovation experiences that we'll learn now from Mexico, a country that has lots to share, and both in politics, social information. The territories have very defined strategies. The north to become an intelligent city, because there's no doubt that artificial intelligence, our Internet of Things needs to be articulated, and this is being well done. So that's why I want to invite all the people to share with the hashtag Forum Ciudades Inteligentes, the ecosystems of international cities, how they advance, because the projects that are born from the communities impact the city and are very important and provide information to the city. So please share through the social networks. And because people from the YouTube channel were asking how they participate. Well, at the chat you will have a form where you will have a certification of the assistance to this forum. So this forum will be for the 4 days, but if you have attendance of 3 days, you will have a certificate of attendance. So the social networks of the metropolitan area of Medellin, you can share your questions with us. Please recall we are at @metropol, and we have the different languages of our traditions. We are here in Spanish, in English, and Portuguese for the people of Latin America that would like to be part of this forum. So from Mexico, we have Mariano Munoz from Olmor. From Mexico, Mariano, warm welcome.
Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you for this space. I am delighted to be with you today after listening to the different interventions or lectures to see what's been done in the different parts of the world. It's important for us to share what's being done in our country.
Muchísimas gracias.
Okay, so briefly, I would like to share what we've been doing in Mexico City, especially during the last 3 years. When we arrived to Mexico City, December 2018, the city didn't have an articulated innovation strategy. That is why, as part of the policies of the new administration of Dr. Claudia Sheinbaum, chief of the government, we implemented this. So Mexico City is a megalopolis, has over 9 million people, 16% of the GDP of the country. It means that we have challenges, as we heard from Bolivia, of a society with inequalities that requires new mechanisms and new ways to access to the different rights and the state. So the motto of this government is information and rights. Digital information, the tools should be implemented as new policies, processes, and mechanisms to serve the citizens, especially those who have the least, and guarantee the active exercise of rights. And based on these three principles, to access, serve, and request, we are working, first of all, to have access, because we have technology, innovation, the way to close the gaps and use these tools so people have access to their services and rights. We also see how the digital government can provide to these mechanisms to the most vulnerable population so they can demand their rights. And finally, how technology helps us to provide new solutions so the authorities and public servers can provide be more efficient, faster, and serve the citizens as they deserve. So we have different products for the citizens, basically on the branch of having access. The first step to talk about an intelligent city, well, it cannot occur if there is no free internet. So in fact, we're the second city in the world with free internet points or Wi-Fi. We have the best initiative of connectivity in the world, and this year we're going to expand that network. We have 17,000 points, and we will expand it to 200 new health centers, to the new transportation systems like the cable car bus, and also to new public spaces. We know that most people connect through their cell phones, and that is important for all services and information to be designed to be accessible from a cell phone. You don't need a computer. That way we will guarantee a better access, more democratic access to our services and the state. Finally, along with the digitalization, we are making a very important job of simplifying, eliminating requisites, paperwork, so the interaction between the government and the citizen is more direct and simple. Prioritize, of course, all our products, all our services should have a user experience that would be fast, easy, intuitive, so people can have access to it no matter their knowledge with these technologies. And we're thinking to democratize these process of public innovation, because due to the number of inhabitants and the GDP we have, Mexico City is a privileged position compared to other cities of the region of the country. It can pay for an agency such as ours. Well, we want public innovation so it would solve citizen problems that can be donated to other cities with no cost, so they can implement them easily. And that's why we created our cooperation agency called NEO, that in Nahuatl means to bring together, to bring these processes outside of our boundaries. And as okay, so technology is also a means for the citizens to demand that we have make a revolution in the way we tend our citizens. We had a call center several years ago, Locatel, that provided information and different services to the citizens, such as medical, legal, support. And now we are providing these not only through the phone, but it can be done through in the internet or our app by CMS or social networks. So these information can be accessed by everyone, providing better attention, shorter response times. And of course, part of the technology, we've implemented products and actions of open government because we believe in a government that's close to people. So we have proactive transparency actions with open portals with over 230 databases. That's something that has never seen before in the history of Mexico City. We have a georeference of delinquency during the pandemic. We had the active cases of COVID-19, legal services. All of these is available in our open portals. And we have geographical information that provides different layers of information of the city available for the citizens. And we opened the tax catastro of the city. We also provide risk information, so this is available to everyone. And we've also implemented public purchases or procurement. So this is called our Tianguis Digital, which has had international support with open contracting partnership, with a good public policy practice. And as I was telling you, the technology reduces these gaps between citizens and government. In participation, a more direct participation, that's why we implemented our participation portal called Plaza Pública with over 30 participative process from seeking people or for specific jobs, public consultations such as public works in the city. And in the area of serving, we have a technological base with human group to offer these public services. We have an interoperability road we have a strategic simplification, increasing our cloud capacity and servers to provide all these digital services to the citizens. And finally, the use of data, of what we denominate data intelligence, to create better public policies.
That was the case of COVID with the health cabinet. Our case gathered all the necessary information about active cases, calls to 911, tests, hospitalizations, and that was crucial for decision-making during this crisis. But we also do it for several public policies that have to do with the social environment and with security. This summarizes part of our agendas. We have digital information, open government. This would have been possible without our software factory. We have about 40 developers of software that they program everything that you are seeing or what I'm talking about is done from this factory of software because we have technological sovereignty and this allows us to have more scalable projects, and we have been able to reduce costs without having the need of third parties or private parties. Finally, in business, we have 776 people in 6 centers. 550 are operators of Locatel because we believe that the citizens' attention is one of the strongest links that we have with our people, with the government. Like I was telling you, this year we were reaching more than 8,000 points of our free Wi-Fi, and we have achieved more than 3.6 million connections, 36.8 million connections, and 18,000 points, and it's can have access to any point. We are the second city with more internet points. The first one is Moscow. We have created a key called Key CDMX, and it is key in a password for all the accounts of the city, like the electronic file where you can have your documents online, and only the authorities will have access to them in case it is granted. We eliminate requirements. We don't have to go from counter to counter sharing documents. It is right there and filed for the people. And the key CDMX also has digital signature for the citizens so that everything can be done online and you can sign documents online, legally online. And like I was telling you, we have to simplify the digitalization of the paperwork, and we have advanced a lot. There were 1,996 different paperworks. Right now, it's only 750. The rest are digital now, and the paperwork has been decreased dramatically. The app CDMX, it's very important to have everything available from your cell phone. It's the key for the city where you have all these modules and services. It has been downloaded by more than 2.5 million people. It has modules like security, the digital license, and we are also going to have the driving license, digital license, and we are also going to have a module called My Cab to call a cab from your cell phone from this app CDMX, and it has different functions of security that other apps don't have. It has a panic button connected to our emergency center, and in case it is activated, it dispatches immediately a patrol, and the cameras will follow the movement of the cab and guarantee the safety of the passengers. It's more than 16,000 cameras. Our citizen unified attention system, our call center that is Locatel, and social media. We also have a chatbot. Today, it has more than 866,000 requests for improvement of public utility services, lighting, holes on the streets, and for any doubt, comment, suggestion. We have this system for the citizens' attention. The open data, we have 2.2 million users in this portal. portal of open data, and we follow up. We are going to have collaborative data where you can upload your data and cross it with other information that is public and be able to graph and visualize them in a portal with different kinds of graphs. And our geographic information system, it unifies the information, administration, risk atlas, utility services, and it's available since last year for being able to be downloaded. Based on this operation model, the agency has generated savings in comparison to the previous area that were in charge of the digital agenda that was a little bit dispersed. We have saved 62% in staff, 60% in the cost of operational areas, and we're doing more with less because we have increased 34% the new functions. We did not have connectivity before, and we have generated with our developments and with our contracts and the surveillance and the procurement of technology, we have saved more than 2,000 million pesos, $100 million. So we are very proud. We have won several awards. Like I told you, we're first place in infrastructure of information and communication of 2020 in the telecommunications prize, the golden prize in security in safe cities, the WIGO prizes from Seoul, first place to innovation and transparency because of our portal of open data. We had a recognition of best practices from the Open Fiscal Data Package and Open Contracting Partnership because of the accompaniment that we have done, because of the procurements that we have done, the Inter-American Bank of Development and the prize Eduardo Campos, the prize for well-being. It is transparent and integrates the information of the social programs of the city. We have also received prizes of the contracting partnership. From the most important projects, besides the Wi-Fi and the key, we have achieved to reduce the paperwork of 1,996 to 996, and we will be closing with 750 in our CDMX app. We also have available to also denounce the crimes online. I want to stop here a little bit and speak about our cooperation agency. Our objective is continue innovating, democratizing the good practices that we have had, the products that we have developed, and that's why we created NEGO, the cooperation agency, since December 2018. And this is technology financed with resources of the people. That's why we call it public innovation. We are aware that we have to invest in this and have it available for the local government. So we divided to create NEGO, and NEGO means to unite. So this way, we have available to donate the system of tabs from your app with the other function of security, the panic button, the citizens' attention, the open portal, and the mechanism of identity of CDMX. And soon we will be informing more of these products. I want to thank your time, your interest, and remind you that we want to innovate with rights. If technology and innovation won't be able to strengthen, be at the service of the people, then they will be no good. And we want people to have more equality. We have to think about that smart city that includes everybody to the service of the people and guaranteeing the service of their rights. Thank you. Mariano Muñoz del Olmo, thank you so much. You can start your camera. Thank you so much for your company and to tell you about this titanic work in Mexico, because you have a lot of people and the trust that they have from the citizens, because it's more than 2 million downloads of the app. So this means that the citizens trust the governments. What are the main challenges for development of a smart city from your project up to the implementation? I believe it's several. One has to do about unification of agendas. We have to unify the agendas, and we had a framework that allows us to centralize in one place all the agendas that had to do from internet, from technological operation, supervision of procurement. That norm framework allowed us to unify all these agendas, because the agendas are sometimes dispersed and spread out, but that makes it harder for the economy of scale and not having a unified policy. And there's a challenge about accessibility, for example, and that's why we prioritize access to internet. We prioritize that our products are simple and easy to use for the people, that are very understandable. And there is a challenge in terms of infrastructure that the cities have to achieve this advancement. And I'm speaking about technological, physical infrastructure, but also the human side of social capital, that in the city of Mexico and in the country, we have a lot of talent with the young people, and it has been a priority of this administration to invest in that human capital that can get closer and develop the new cities of the future. Okay, Mariano Muñoz del Olmo, thank you so much for being with us. Thanks to you. Have an excellent day. Important point of this conversation with Mariano is the second city of the world with more public access to the internet, and they have a software factory. So they are really learning and applying it. It's not having a big challenge, more than 9 million inhabitants, but they're trying to use the technologies and become a smart city that benefits all the people. We want to remind you with these talks that you are participating on the first Metropolitan Forum of Smart Cities. You can have a certification, and you can have to be subscribed at least 3 out of the 4 days up to tomorrow, Friday. I'm going to remember the page, www.metropol.gov.co/foro Ciudades Inteligentes. Disponible a través de YouTube en inglés. Okay, let's continue. And if I ask you, what is metropolitan routes? I know what that means. So you try to ask me a hard question, but we are going to answer this question because it has to do with the institutional offer and is reaching all the municipalities in the Valley of Aburrá. What municipalities municipalities were you in the last time? We were in Caldas, in the south. It's a beautiful municipality, that is part of the 10 municipalities. Now we have the mayor, Mauricio Cano Cardona, but Juan Camilo, we would like to see what is the Metropolitan routes about, so to be very proud of what you have seen in this place.
Área Metropolitana del Valle de Aburrá. Futuro sostenible.
Un video que responde muy bien la pregunta que usted
A
me decía,
video
Linda, que
that
nosotros ya sabíamos la
summarizes your
respuesta, pero que
idea,
las personas
Linda,
que están
but the
conectadas
people that
de
are
manera digital, pues
connected
todavía no lo sabían. Lo que estamos
still
viendo
don't
ahí
know
son las
what we
rutas
are seeing.
metropolitanas,
That
la oferta
are the
institucional llevada hasta cada
metropolitan
uno de los
routes.
10 territorios
It's one of
del
the
Valle de
10
Aburrá, en este caso,
territories
el
of the
bello
Valle
municipio
de
de
la
Caldas.
Aburrá. In this case, Caldas, and we have entrepreneurship, sports, businesses, and it's a great
Y hablando
pleasure
del
to
municipio de
have
Caldas, ya está
here
con nosotros
the
aquí para la
mayor
siguiente
of
ponencia, el
Caldas,
alcalde de ese municipio ubicado al sur del Valle
to
de
the
Aburrá. Él
south
es
of el
Mauricio
Valle
Cano
de la
Carmona
Aburrá,
y nos va a contar también
Mauricio
las
Cano
experiencias en
Carmona,
materia
and
de
he's
innovación
going
de
to
este
speak
municipio.
about
Gracias por
innovation
acompañarnos
in
acá.
this municipality.
José, Juan Camilo y a Linda, muchas gracias.
Thank you, Juan
Saludo especial
Camilo
también a
and
todas las
Linda,
personas que nos
and
siguen
I
a
want
través de
to
las redes
greet
y
everybody
la
that is
plataforma de
following
Área
us through the
Metropolitana en este gran
Metropolitan
foro
area
de Metropolitano de Ciudades Inteligentes.
media
Para nuestro caso, y
and
en particular para
network.
el municipio de
And
Caldas,
for this case, for the
obviamente por la
municipality
profesión
of
como ingeniero
Caldas,
electrónico,
and I'm
en
an
vista de las grandes
electronic
oportunidades que
engineer,
vimos
and we
en
had great
precisamente en lo público,
opportunities in the
generar
public
realmente un
area
control directivo
to
al servicio de la
create
comunidad, aportando
directive
positivamente a la
control
gestión
and
transparente.
trying to
Y
have
hemos
a
decidido, hemos visto
transparent
que realmente
action.
Ciudad Inteligente
We
no
know
es
that
cosa
smart
que
city is not
nos
only
pide
a
el
city that has
sino que sea esa ciudad que
technology,
nos
but
permita
it's a
ser
city that
sensibles
allows us to
a
be
la toma de
sensitive,
decisiones que es tan
sensitive
importante.
to decision
Precisamente cuando
making.
estamos en
And
estos
when
cargos
we are
directivos,
speaking
tú tenemos que
from
darle
these
también información y
directive
darle una
positions,
relación de
we
cuentas
really have to
Desde el inicio
tell
de
the
este proceso
community what we are
siempre
doing.
veía una oportunidad de mejora
We
precisamente
I
en los
already
cuadros de
saw
control.
an
Con esas fuentes de
improvement
información de hacerle un seguimiento
opportunity
óptimo,
to do an
eficiente y eficaz
optimal
a
follow-up
todo el plan de
to
desarrollo
the
y a
whole
otras líneas
development
estratégicas.
plan and other
Por eso es que en el
strategic
municipio de
lines.
Caldas
That
decidimos
is why in the
apostarle
municipality
fuertemente
of
a
Caldas,
esa
we are
elaboración de una
working very
plataforma
hard in
tecnológica
the
que me permita
technological
tener en
platform
tiempo real
that will
la
allow me
información
to
de
have
estos
in
datos.
real time
Como tal,
the
a través de
information
esa
for this
plataforma
data.
tenemos el
Through this
monitoreo permanente de
platform,
gestión
we
humanitaria,
have
control territorial,
monitoring of the
precisamente el tema de
humanitarian
licencias de uso,
management,
construcciones
territorial
ilegales,
control,
la
illegal
observación de los
business,
tipos de
the
elemento y herramienta tan
control
importante
of
como es el
different
uso del suelo,
elements like the
que muchas
use of the
veces genera
land,
una cantidad
because
de procesos
sometimes
para
there
poder
have
entregar
been
un
a
uso del
lot of
suelo, también
processes
el
in the
control
use of the
fiscal,
land,
y esto hace
the fiscal
precisamente
control,
desde la dependencia de
from the
Hacienda, todo ese
dependency,
control que hay que
the
hacer
control
para
that
que
we have to
realmente los
do
contribuyentes sean eficientes y eficaces con el pago de
with
sus
the
tributos.
payments of these
Medición de gestión
tributes,
en tiempo real es una de las oportunidades que nos muestra esta plataforma e indicadores de
measurement of
avance.
management in real time and the
Es por eso que
indicators.
diseñamos una
That is
plataforma
why we
tecnológica,
designed a
como ustedes pueden ver.
technological platform,
Tenemos
like you
que a
can
través de esta
see.
plataforma tecnológica
Through this
nosotros podemos ver en
technological
tiempo real
platform, we can see
informe
in
de
real
avance de
time
todas las
a
diferentes gestiones de
report of the
actividades.
advancement
También
of
podemos ver
activities.
semáforos de
We can
control que nos
see
alertan
traffic
qué
lights of
dependencia
control that
viene
will alert
ejecutando
us
bien which dependency is working correctly or not, how they're working with the budget and the different indicators and products. We have other 4 links that will allow me to see information by histograms, how the budget is being managed in its dependence. We have one about the curves and graphs to see in real time. That it's one of the first things that we have to do is taking decisions with data based on the reality of information to make assertive decisions in governability that impact positively in the community so that we can really analyze the management. Development of activities in a specific way. And in the top part of this platform, we have control in tasks for the whole team. As part of this process and this product, we can select which dependency I want to monitor and what year I want to monitor. Let's say in this case, we take the execution of 2020 and we select one of the dependency, and through this dependency, we have some strategic lines that are consolidated in the government plan, and these strategic lines, I can get closer and scroll down to components, to the 89 programs of the development plan, 348 products, and 1,020 activities of the development plan. In real time, we have indicators of alerts, of traffic lights through different colors so that we can be very visual so that the team can make decisions easier. And for this particular case, we can see how these strategic lines in yellow and in activities in green.
This dashboard would be the second step after doing click on one of them, and we have the different products that from that strategic line number 1 that we showed at the beginning. And we can see that for this case, the item number 1 of this product is the one that I need to zoom, which is fallen. It's lower. So that way we have a management control of the public to take care of the money of our citizens, which is so important. So this platform allows us to take in real time, make decisions in real time with teamwork. And the people will be able to place the jobs they're doing so they can show they are committing to these specific activities. And this program links with our accounting program that will determine if it complies or not with the payment due to the compliance with the activities. So we give check not only the commitment or the compliance or fulfillment, but also the performance. So here we have all the financial projection. We see how the income is projected in the 4 years, also the financing sources in each of the programs and projects, and the financiation, if it's from the participation system by alternative resources. We see the participation of each of them and the percentage applied to each of the secretaries. So here we have the financiation sources, where we're going to get the resources and how they are translated to each of the dependencies, so the secretary can zoom each of them. And on the top, we can also see how much it is for each project, how much for each dependency, what are the OOS, and finally the financiation sources. So this way we can do a traceability of the public resources.
This will be at the service of the community so they can see in real time the distribution of their resources, of their money, for a transparent management. Finally, we don't only have the dashboard as a control table, but the advantage, or one of the opportunities we have with by creating this dashboard, is that finally we in the market, we are sold many softwares or programs, but they don't link together. So the municipalities end up paying a lot of money and they cannot be linked, and that this motivates everybody, and there are so many technologies that will not be used. So we developed in our own development of information sources. We also have taxes information, the POT, which is a territorial organization plan. So you can see in real time a certain area, and the investors can determine the type of constructions they can build, or if it's an area of reserve or not reserved area. We also have a auto photograph of the territory that shows, where I can visualize in real time the type of constructions I want to make or I can make, what kind of buildings I can build, and determine if you can make or not that investment in the Caldas municipality. Through this development, we also have a sample of public services, because we have the development, we develop our own public services company, taxes and social programs. Social programs, well, I want to show you that this is a sample of how we do it for this particular case. This is the platform of commercial census. We identified all the commercial, the ones that are green comply with the requisites for functioning. Those that are in red are missing totally all the requirements, and those in yellow is they're missing some requirements. What type of requirements? The use of the land, the fire department certificate, health certificate, payment of industry and commerce tax. And that usually every month we have this green, red, or yellow light that shows us the situation of each establishment, and we see the transparency of the competitivity. Everybody will be in the same conditions, and that way we avoid to continue having illegality. Finally, we have, as we were talking in this program, we have a great opportunity. Through the pandemic, we developed this platform with this link of humanitarian help. So we've delivered over 19,000 groceries. And we also have programs for the elderly, for those disabled, for community mothers, among others, and we verify in real time how many homes receive these groceries, how many are adults, how many are the elderly, how many are minors. And we have here this heat map that shows where we concentrate the delivery of these food, and we see if it's in the rural or the urban area. In this particular case, we see 28% have been delivered in the rural areas and the others in the urban area. And in the adults, the elderly, or here we can see the type of population that receive this help. So this is what we've developed in Caldas municipality, heading or looking to become an intelligent city. We've also developed a program for LED streetlights, like I was mentioned, in regulated, intelligent, regulated parking spaces. We are also developing this. So in our judgment, we consider that with this tool and making decisions in real time, we're more efficient, we have more efficacy, and we provide the information to the community so we can be transparent. Thank you, Major, for your intervention. This is a great novelty, everything that you're doing in this municipality. Something to highlight. Real-time data recollection, management of public services, and with no doubt, this is improve the development of Caldas and integrates very well with the rest of the Valley of Aburrá. Thank you, Major, and congratulations for the management you're giving to the data in your municipality. Thank you, Juan Carlos and Linda, for this opportunity. And with the metropolitan area, I want to thank Juan David Palacio that has also bet very strongly to these initiatives. So thanks to all of those who are connected this morning in a third day of the first Metropolitan Forum of Intelligent Cities. Juan Camilo, we've seen so much information of everything that it's related to the local. We also heard experiences about the rural areas, the protection of the environment that we also have in Caldas, but this is something more technical to the statistics, to the real use of data in an intelligent manner for decision making. So we've seen incredible experiences and learning process during this forum. And I want to recall to you all that tomorrow we also have a day here, a morning. We have over 20 countries invited to this forum. And Linda, we've seen incredible experiences in our territory in terms of mobility in the municipality of La Estrella, security and air quality in Girardota at the north of the Valley of Aburrá, which is an industrial territory. And it's also culturally, the people there have to be adapted to the companies, but this has created challenges in terms of air contamination, and they're using an intelligent system to measure the quality of the air. We've also seen topics that are related with government and how to make the citizens to see transparency in the management of their resources, of their taxes, and how those who work, who have shops, what are the documents they're missing so everything will work well. So these are initiatives that have been shared here. Thursday, the mayor also told us about the transformation of the public space and the public lighting of the streets, how this can help with the security of the inhabitants, and how can this be integrated with video surveillance, video vigilance, and how these we're saving and providing greater quality of life to the inhabitants. Juan Camilo, LED lighting is a clear example of the initiative led by the majors along with the metropolitan area to be more sustainable territories and more intelligent territories, because these are lights that are connected with the surveillance system, with security and that's why it's so important when they tell us when they're doing this or when they're planning to change the light bulbs to the LED lights. So this is a revolution, what we're seeing here in the Valley of Aburrá. It's an example for the country, for other metropolitan areas of Colombia in terms of intelligent cities. And it's also related with the intelligent management of data that is collected, the technology used, the education provided to the youth and to the inhabitants of the metropolitan area for future programmers to exist, to have dignified employment, and to become an intelligent territory, an example for the rest of the country. As we said before, during these 3 days, those who have the information have the power. So this could be one of the main conclusions, at least after listening to our guests during these 3 days. All these processes can be done if we have a system that integrates the data, not only from the government, but from the entities of the academy. The information provided by the universities is vital, and also the private sector and the citizens. The citizens are the main source of information in the 10 municipalities of the Valley of Aburrá, but also worldwide. The citizen is the center of these transformation processes. And as Linda, I agree with you, this is a revolution. Juan Camilo, this is, you can participate through the social networks using the hashtag Ciudades Inteligentes to share the information you've had up until now, and for us to share with us what is an intelligent system with ecosystems to create intelligent and innovative cities. We have several comments in our YouTube channel. But we also are live in Facebook. They are saying, congratulations, we have great mayors in the metropolitan area of the Valley of Aburrá. They are also saying that these are very interesting topics. Congratulations to the different mayors and people from the different parts of the world. Also, congratulations to them. So the people who are watching us are satisfied with the knowledge they are gathering, because it's great information that sometimes to process it is difficult, but it heads in the same direction. The management of information is a power that we need to manage in favor of the community. Okay, thanks to all of those who are connected during these 3 days through the channels of the metropolitan area. We've had close to 1,000 people connected per day, and it is important to remind you all that if you want to receive your certification, you can find the form at the end. You need to participate at least in 3 of the 4 days, from Tuesday up until next Friday. And Linda, let's make a balance of what we've heard and what was coming next, because we still have some guests to come. We have guests from Latin America, from Peru, that are next. We are contacting with the people from the person from Peru that's going to be sharing information. We also have experiences from Chile, and we will go to the Asian continent. We're going to Malaysia, learning of what's happening in Asia. How are they doing these data collection processes, and how they are becoming an intelligent city. We have gratifying experiences with majors of Caldas and Bayer here in Colombia, and also from Bolivia and Mexico. The public has been amazed with what we heard from Santa Cruz de Bolivia. We heard how they are using the public spaces, and Juan Camilo was showing me an image that called my attention. How half of the city is an urban area with a metropolis, with buildings, with transportation, public spaces, and across we have this forest, the river, and how they respect the environment, how they are a green city that works in pro of being an intelligent city, but somehow does it in a sustainable manner, so all the citizens have the education and the respect for the environment. And beyond this curiosity that it creates, these views of these cities, because many of us don't know all the cities that have been exposed here today. It's interesting what you said. When we generate these technological processes, the fear is to affect third parties or affect the environment. So a city such as Santa Cruz de la Sierra in Bolivia, what they've done is not harming their environment, but taking care of it and adapting it to the needs of the citizens in each of these territories. That is why the integration of the public spaces of these places is fundamental. And also important topics such as the processes of generating new life conditions in terms of social and economic reactivation. Mexico, for example, was focused in how collecting data was fundamental in order to maintain an effective control of the pandemic of COVID-19. We're talking about preparing the health system, but also of making tests at the right time to identify the coronavirus cases. And now that the process moves, the vaccination process moves on to verify which persons are vaccinated or not, to know which ones have been vaccinated abroad and which ones are vaccinated in Colombia. And this is done with the support of data collection. And Juan Camilo, so with the citizens who are those who trust the management of this data and the government, and Mexico is a clear example of what's happening. When he finished, we highlighted the trust of the citizen on the application of CDMX, the CDMX app, where they have 2.5 million people providing their data there, providing mobility, health, information that helps the government to make an intelligent decision-making through this information. And Juan Camilo, this gives us like a, well, shows us that we are advancing in Colombia, but still we need to do more. I don't know, from the government or the citizens or both, to move forward. So transparency becomes the most important part. So the citizen is trusts what the resources, how the resources are being managed, like the mayor of Caldas showed us, that he shows the citizens what's happening with the resources. And in this platform, through the software, the inhabitants of this municipality can see how the resources are distributed. This guarantees the relationship that grows little by little. Linda, to know more about this, we need to talk about public bicycles that has accommodated or has adapted to the needs of people, like the Netherlands. These are countries that use this system, and it's recognized as an effective transportation means that helps with the environment. So we're going to listen to Juan David Palacio with some people from this European country and riding his bike.
Tan feliz de estar en Medellín, de hacer un recorrido en bici.
Área Metropolitana del Valle de Aburrá. Futuro sostenible.
El primer foro metropolitano de Ciudades Inteligentes es un espacio para conocer las formas en las que la tecnología mejorará la calidad de vida de los ciudadanos. Será un evento gratuito con certificación de participación entre el 27 y el 30 de julio, que será transmitido a través de la plataforma de YouTube del Área Metropolitana del Valle de Aburrá. Inscríbete ya en www.metropol.go.co.
Área Metropolitana del Valle de Aburrá. Futuro sostenible.
a todas las personas que nos ven y Juan Camilo también a usted que en este momento tenemos más de 800
Right now,
personas conectadas
more than
a través
800
de
people
nuestro canal
connected
en
through our
YouTube
channel
con
in
nuestro primer foro
YouTube with the
metropolitano de
first
ciudades
Metropolitan
inteligentes. Algunas de
Forum of
ellas nos
Smart
han
Cities.
manifestado sus
Some of
diferentes
them
inquietudes, pero creo
have
que hay una que me llama mucho
some
la atención y es
questions,
que el reto sigue
and the
siendo
challenge
cómo tener
is
toda
still
esta
how to
información que
have
es
all this
bastante, que la
information,
tenemos a un nivel,
that
digamos
we
que
have
global,
it
porque son muchas ciudades
globally
del mundo
because
quienes
there are
están
many
compartiendo
cities
sus
in the
experiencias,
world,
pero cómo, digamos,
how
bajar toda
to
esa información a lo más
download
local, a la comunidad,
or
al
how
barrio, cómo hacer
to
que esto en
have
realidad
all
llegue
this
pues a las
information so
personas que
that it
tiene que
really
llegar para que se
reaches the
avance en
people,
ciudad intermedia
how to
inteligente.
descale it
Aquí es muy
to the
importante el
level
trabajo
of the
de los
little
líderes, incluso el
towns,
trabajo de los
so
jóvenes
that is
que hoy en
important
día
the
se
young
interesan más por
people
estos temas
that are
y por
more
trabajar con sus
interested in these
comunidades.
topics and to work for their communities. It is important to highlight the participation that people have had through the YouTube streaming. We are going to read some comments about the video. In the Netherlands, pedestrians are very important, and bicycles also have to be a priority, and the cities are understanding. That's why in El Valle of Aburrá we are creating conditions for the bicycles. We want to have it from the south to the northern part of El Valle of Aburrá. Other important comments, Luis Toro, there are several kinds of intelligence. It's very important. And food safety has to be included in smart cities. Each territory has different conditions. They have their own needs. And there are some intelligences that are articulated with public interests, global interests, like in COVID-19, but there are other needs that are adapted to the territory, to what the community needs. We saw it with the elderly in Caldas. They have specific needs about it, and they are working on this, and that's why they're doing the data collection of the young people, but also the elderly, the children, people with disabilities, and public transportation and mobility is the topic that we have to work on, because public transportation is fundamental. So with them, we can handle contamination and pollution and improve the quality of life of the people, decrease commuting times, and improve the quality of life of people with disabilities so that they can have access to these transport systems. One of the conclusions the national and international speakers in this forum is that smart city cannot be measured globally. Each territory has their own challenges. Each municipality has their own needs and very specific needs. Some of them has to do with public space, others have to work more in environment, others work more in mobility and through paperwork, decreasing the paperwork. So each territory has different needs, and all the territories are different, and these needs have to be solved. We have to find solutions for these needs, and we are advancing in these processes. Many of the people in the mayor's office, they have said, spoken about the plans in the medium and long term. Some people have big challenges for 2023, others for 2040. So the idea is to keep on working in the near future and in the long-term future as well. And like Mexico speaker was saying, they have international cooperation to help other governments in the world to share with others what they have learned. So here in Colombia, we can have and learn from those experiences, and that is what we're doing with this forum. Exchange experiences and learn from others. You have touched an important point, and that is international cooperation. And that is fundamental when we're speaking about sustainable territories. It is important to know about the initiatives in other countries, not to apply them in the same way and copy-paste, but to have cooperation international to improve educational models and other areas. To have that exchange of ideas is very important. Sometimes some initiatives are subsidized. The creation of some patents is important. And in Germany, what we saw is that they are focusing of giving advice to other cities in the world so that they create their own products and they can help transform society and have them more accessible to the citizen and to be easy to acquire and easy to apply. And that's one of the questions that many of you might have. If the new technologies are going to displace us as humans, and the answer is no. When you have new machines, when you have new devices, of course, we need somebody to handle those devices, to manage those devices. So in Medellin, we are working in the valley of the software to train these young people in software so that they can be able in the future to be the leaders of these technologies and be able to have them to the service of the community. That is the most important. And future is a word that we have to mention a lot in this forum, because it's not only for this territory and this moment, but we're thinking ahead in the future. What is the best way to solve some of our problems? And we want to remind everybody that this first forum of smart cities, it is possible thanks to the Área Metropolitana of the Valle de Aburrá that are working integrated so we can continue advancing like a smart territory. Okay, let's continue with more experiences. The other one comes from Peru. It's Carlos Peña Orellana. We're going to have communication with him, with his presentation and what he has to say, but I'm going to say he's going to speak about mobile security. He works in Artemira Flores in Peru. He knows a lot about mobility because Peru is a very big country. The main cities have a huge population. They're very dense, but geographically they have had a lot of expansion. So we want to know about the processes of mobility in this country. And Linda, we can have great conclusions for our territory because we have 10 municipalities and we have great challenges, not only because of the displacements, difficult access, and pollution. We have to change to more sustainable vehicles that improve the quality of air because we have episodes of atmosphere pollution. So urban mobility is going to really help us with these kind of situations that are very important for our knowledge. Yes, and situations that are not only responsible of the government, but also of the citizens, because we are the ones that have to help and contribute to the environment. So when we speak about road security, well, the roads have to have, they need to have excellent conditions, but we have to be smart when we drive because we have pedestrians, people that ride bicycles, they ride motorcycles, we have trucks, we have small vehicles, and we are all actors, and we have to act smart. And make the use of the apps and the different initiatives from the government, but we have to have citizens' awareness about the road mobility so that we can protect everybody. Many people still are killed in traffic accidents. In Colombia and Medellin, it's thousands of people that die because of accidents. So it is very interesting to know about the cities of the continent and how they are solving urbanity, but also road security. And we are a fundamental part to improve this aspect. When you speak about road security, we have to speak about reducing accidents, but creation of awareness. And when I say awareness, it's not only when we are driving, but to be able to know about the initiatives. We have a World Day of the Bicycle. It's an invitation to people to ride their bicycles to work. We are having road culture and possibilities to improve the air quality. We also have a day without car. So those days, we cannot take our cars out. So we are trying to create awareness in our population and improve the environment. I invite you to see this video, this short video about what we're doing about the situation. Gracias.
Área Metropolitana del Valle de Aburrá. Futuro sostenible.
Como les comentamos hace un
Like I was telling you a little while ago, the talk from Peru has to do with mobility and road security. And we have seen the intention of many other municipalities that have to do with tactical urbanism. The first day was the municipality of La Estrella and what they have achieved in public space and mobility with tactical urbanism. Well, what is tactical urbanism about? Is when they take advantage of a space and they organize it and modify it with paints and drawings on the road to improve mobility. And the drivers are responsible of the accidents. So this is a way to tell the drivers that they have to drive slowly, where to park, and to respect pedestrians. It's a lot of tools that they have been using, the mayors in the different municipalities, and then later they can become real and permanent works for the communities. Yesterday we heard that from La Estrella. Tactical urbanism. It's painting on the roads to create awareness. And we have to transform the territory, how to do the crossings of the pedestrian, when to stop, when to go, and train the drivers and the pedestrians for a safer road. Now we're going to have Carlos Peña Orellano. He is the manager of Miraflores, Peru, from the mobility sector. Welcome.
Buenos días con todos. Muchas gracias.
Good day, everybody.
La
Thank you for this invitation. Warm greetings from the mayor of Miraflores, Luis Molina Arnés. He's very much pleased with this work of Miraflores with Colombia, and we are going to present our project of smart city that has to do with urban mobility in a framework of experiences that has been done with Colombia, with the cities of Bogota and Medellin. So I would like to start with the background. It is important to mention that we are going to speak about a global project of smart cities. Next, please. In the background of this project, the mayor, Luis Molina, analyzed from his government plan and the proposal to reach the mayor's office of Miraflores, the planning of a project of smart city that includes mobility and security of the citizens. But Miraflores has something special. It's the second most visited city after Machu Picchu. It has a lot of growth. It's a district with a lot of bicycle riders. It has more than 100,000 inhabitants, and it has 500,000 people, a floating population that visit every day. So they have to manage a lot of people because it's a very touristic district. It's 9.6 square kilometers, and it's one of the few cities in Lima that has access to the beaches. We have 8 beautiful beaches that are part of our touristic paradise. Next, please. To speak about the diagnosis, we have to consider the diagnosis in citizen security. Miraflores has a district and a management of 745 90 agents of cameras that are permanently in the district doing surveillance, manual surveillance. We still do not have optic fiber or our own connectivity. And optic fiber and connectivity has been requested. We have more than 2,000 crimes per year. Next, please. It has 7 minutes of attention time when there is an emergency, 76 vehicles to do the patrolling, 73 motorcycles for patrolling, and more than 300 cameras of control that are installed in the city. This analysis, next please, we can see that the diagnosis in citizen security has not been favorable. We have been inheriting this session by session. It has been different crime map. What happens when we don't have an own optic fiber? We have to rent it, and that rent is very expensive. And it could have been the basis to start a project of smart city and our own optic fiber. But for many years, this has generated a great cost for the district. In many years, the technology has been close to the defense of the citizens. There is no big data or data analytics. There's no technological interference for the manual actions. So many times we haven't had the results that we've wanted.
Besides doing this manually, there is no there's no facial recognition technology. There is difficult to integrate that database, creating poor coordination in the operation, which can be a permanent deficit in facing an application of the norm to provide security. Conditions like when a car is running around with a legal problem. In case of mobility, it's also aligned with citizen security. That's a second challenge of Miraflores. We need to consider that we have 16 concentration points, 15 for transit accidents. So we have 30 points of concentration of transit accidents, some in main roads, others not in main roads, but it has many conditions we need to work on because there's some deceased people in these accidents. So these are actions where we have a conflict of traffic, so we can lose time. We can also have auditive or environmental contamination. So these point of concentration of accidents have 88 inspectors that are working in these in the whole territory, but specifically in these areas. But we can see that in citizen security, there are problems due to technology issues. We have a software of the street lights that don't talk within them. So in the areas with greatest flow, we have some traffic lights that don't talk about, that have different technologies, so they cannot be connected. And so next slide. So some of the main problems in traffic in Miraflores is that the technology have different brands, different systems, so they're not compatible, and there are differences in the times, and traffic cannot be managed globally. So we don't have a good traffic load management. There are many streetlights that are centralized in the control centers, so it's hard to know in real time if they are working properly. Many times the pedestrians and drivers don't think that traffic signals are so important. So we need technology because to create a greater impact. And so they don't comply with the norms. Since there's no traffic and speed control, well, drivers don't comply. They risk people's lives, and in places that they create traffic or they exceed the legal speed, and they also create some flow traffic flow in some areas that are not prepared. So we would conclude in both cases that there is no vision of a modular growth platform with technology. And since there is no technological integration, well, any effort that we make in the districts seems isolated to the central government, to the government of the different provinces. So we need to reinforce all these in order to improve the mobility. So that's why, please, next slide. We are working since before the development, and we create the experiences of Latin America. We know that we have sister cities to Miraflores that have had these problems with the technology, and they have overcome these issues. So we chose one of the cities with greater advancements with similar issues, and we traveled, we visited to Medellin, we visited Bogota, and also Las Condes in Chile. Colombia and Chile were the axis of the analysis using their experiences, and I would like to thank these countries, cities, because their people provided as much information as possible. They, with meetings that allow us to evaluate their experiences. And for example, in Bogota, we visited the control centers. We saw their response time, their forensic analytics using the cameras, and we took some of the main recommendations. For example, LPR, camera management, and the integration with entities, with the firefighters, ambulances, which provide order within the city. So in the case of Medellin, in the metropolitan area, we visited the Medellin and the metropolitan area offices, and we looked at the portics, and we were surprised. We could visit the control center, and we saw the portal to recognize license plate, car license plate, and we learned a lot of how they solved the problem of street lights. And with the collaboration, the advancements of, and we could take recommendations like global planification of traffic through collaborative streetlights, the integration of databases. As you saw, you have a cable car, metro, public transportation, the bicycles system, and the integration of these models of sustainable mobility that allows the citizens to have dignified mobility and efficient mobility. We also saw the open protocols of the system and the analytics that have specific characteristics for the city. Important analytics related to the people who are motorcycle drivers, delinquency, traffic, conflict areas. This allowed us to learn a lot. In the case of Chile, we visited Las Condes neighborhood, and we saw how they manage their traffic. They have a traffic management center. We looked at the modular analytics for citizen safety, security, the model of optic fiber they have,
They have an optic fiber and connections through antennas and through the internet and the radio that allow, and so this way we learned about a new model. They also have street lights controllers that have buttons so pedestrians can use most efficiently the times. And their main recommendation is how their multi-brand software policies. They need to be compatible with open protocols so they can grow with no conditions of a specific brand. So the technology can belong to the city. So there's no weakness in terms of protocols and brands. And the maintenance, we could acknowledge that each of the conditions and characteristics had a planned maintenance, and Wi-Fi and optical fiber connection. They denominated hybrid connectivity that allowed to broaden the greater amount of tools, sensors, cameras within the city without investing a lot in the connectivity through traditional optic fiber. So that's what we developed based on this technology and based on this knowledge of sister cities, the Smart City Miraflores project. So we can see that for us, for the city of Miraflores, we have a mission, and in 2022, it would be a district with a modular growth platform that will use open protocols and sustainable development. The objective is to have a project that will be global, and then it will grow in a modular fashion. And here we have the global project that is composed of two transversals that support each of the verticals, each of the components of this project. The main transversal is the optic fiber to ensure important connectivity of the district that belongs to the district. The second transversal is the systems that are not going to be isolated in mobility. They will be integrated so data can be exploited. And through big data and the Internet of Things, we can have broad solutions for the district. And vertical like citizen safety, environment, pets, tourism, verticals that will be progressively incorporated into the project and will also have an intelligent city. Next, these verticals have been prioritized in a first stage. The first stage of Smart City, of mobility and citizen security. And the main transversal are systems and optic fiber. This first stage allows us to approach the main challenges, problems of the city, which are insecurity and traffic problems, traffic insecurity, and for example, in the case of software, we have Miraflores has planned to acquire software, a smart city platform that can integrate each of these solutions so we don't have isolated solutions, and to update the video vigilance surveillance systems, to add bioanalytics, both forensic and modular, as we saw in Medellin and Bogotá and in Las Condes. And these analytics software
will provide recommendations so the district could manage through programming its own algorithms, important casuistics to resolve specific problems that we have at the moment, specific problems that will impact the citizens' safety, security, and urban mobility. Also, traffic control systems, so this will be micro-related, collaborative. Why? So the traffic is seen globally, not by intersections. So a controller can learn all the information from all these sensors that will provide this information with greenways, also times for pedestrians to cross the streets, all these in real time. So the systems will auto-adapt to the traffic. Also have an electronic management of traffic. And it is important to mention that in 2019, Miraflores proposed to the Metropolitan area of Lima an agreement. We developed a proposal, and in 2020, this agreement is the first agreement of the history of Peru where a province delegates the district the capacity of to do electronic traffic management. This is a very valuable opportunity so the district can incorporate technology and detect traffic infractions, broadening the management of traffic. So they can place tickets to those who are not complying with the norms, because people sometimes will just run the red lights or turned on left or right in a prohibited area. But now they have these cameras that can detect these infractions, so they will be regulated. So we have these 5 softwares to ensure the connectivity of these analytics. We've looked to implement a hybrid interconnection because we have 14 kilometers of optic fiber in the main branches of the district and 40 kilometers of microcanalization, so these can have access to the main fiber optic channel and provide and have communication. In the case of the beaches that are far away from the micro center, we have radio communication. And this connectivity in the first stage will allow us to ensure the data and important knowledge about all the components. But in a second stage, we will be able to increase the redundancy of communication through third parties. There's also the optic fiber allows us to include third parties that want to be part of these control processes so they can get into our optic fiber, and that way we can have access to cameras in shopping malls or other private cameras that will allow us to improve the security of our citizens. In the case of citizen security, we want to acquire components. For example, access registry through the installation of 100 cameras
cameras that are going to replace other different kinds of cameras to be able to turn around. These cameras have lenses of vision in the four sides. So it's four cameras integrated in only one camera, so we can have a broader and panoramic vision of the city. And they have a fixed lens, and they can have a more efficient analytics. Also, we are including with the project 156 cameras PTZ that are going to be able to read license plates. We see in the picture a port in Miraflores. It's a center, to take example from the city of Medellin, that is going to replicate this strategy so that in the main accesses of the district, we can access through the license plate if they have any kind of report for being stolen or any other kind of report thanks to the license plate. So we already have an integration of databases, and we are working on the diagnosis that we are trying to improve day to day to give important solutions. Besides, we are including 20 cameras of facial recognition for the main points of the parks that are going to allow to recognize the faces and have an integrated database with our own blacklist, and 31 posts SOS with communication concentration points, because if you have an emergency, you have an SOS point nearby, and you can get communicated to the central. You can communicate to an operator, and you are being recorded, and you can ask for help. Next, please. In urban mobility, we are working with a system of reading the license plate through different 50 cameras, centralized with 34 new controllers. When we speak about 34 new controllers for the traffic lights that I was mentioning briefly, auto-adaptive and collaborative controllers, we have a high-end technology so that the controller of the traffic lights is integrated to sensors. And these sensors, they can be cameras. These sensors can do in real time learn about the traffic, and through different algorithms they can learn and establish immediate solutions so that the traffic cannot be solved because of only one intersection, but through a whole network. And when there is no vehicles, when there is not a lot of flow of the vehicles, you can make it more efficient, this network. When the traffic is high, then you have to give priority for the public transport, so you can release this traffic, reducing the priority to the access. And when there is no traffic or little traffic, then these management points are going to continue doing an immediate analysis for the driver or for the vehicle that doesn't have traffic in other intersections, and you can have immediate solutions. For example, during a Sunday, and the driver, instead of waiting for the red light, it's going to change immediately to green. So that will help also pedestrians. Next, please. We are also including control for parking spaces, 250 sensors for parking to be able to regulate the rotational parking. These parking sensors are going to be located in the parking places, and they are going to report to the central when somebody has exceeded the time limit for being parked. So if they exceed the time limit, then the car will be towed away. We are also including pedestrian traffic lights so that they know when to walk or when to stop. They are going to have traffic lights for them so that this can have a better impact to the signaling. And we are improving also the lighting in the streets so that this can also protect pedestrians as well. They can use a more modern system. In the case of speed control, we have radars. We are including radars in 3 different control areas to understand the speed and to know about the climate, how are the cars circulating, and variable messengers, and to report, for example, accidents, to report traffic jams, so the drivers have to be informed. We are also installing traffic lights with buttons. So in El Malecón, we are installing buttons with technology. So when through your cell phone, if you are subscribed as a disability person or you are elderly, you can use your cell phone through the button, and immediately the traffic light is going to double the time for you to cross with people with reduced mobility. Air quality, we're also including 10 sensors of air quality to relate air quality with the points of greater traffic and bottlenecks to analyze if the strategies are having the impact that they should have. We are generating 20 points 20 points for detecting cameras for detecting the traffic lights. It's a very ambitious project that wants to change a manual city that is operating manually to a city that is much more automatic, more surveilled, and with more technology to transform a scenario. We want to have the best technology to change the services, including analytics, including high technologies, but mostly including modular growth. And the basis that Medellin has had in different cities, and it has been a growth in the long term. But we are very ambitious to have a leap forward with technology and have a very competitive project. But the first stage is growing and having better solutions for urban mobility and citizen security. Thank you so much. Mr. Orellana from Miraflores, Peru, thank you so much for sharing your experiences. Juan Camilo, it shows us the advancements in these cities with smart traffic lights, hybrid connectivity, not only optic fiber, but they have other alternatives. They are becoming an intelligent district. Okay, from Peru, we go to Santiago de Chile. We have Michel Carles, who is representative of Santiago de Chile. Thank you, Michel, for being with us in this forum.
Bueno, vamos a ver si ya está conectado con nosotros.
Let's
nuestro
wait and
siguiente
see if
ponente
he is
desde
connected
Santiago de
from
Chile para
Santiago
compartirnos
de
las
Chile
diferentes
to
experiencias que
share
tienen
the
en cuanto
different
al gobierno regional y
experiences
de manera
from the
inteligente el
regional
uso de los
government
datos. Juan
and the
Camilo,
use
para
of
poder
data
avanzar en esta parte del
to
sur del
move
continente
forward from the south
americano
of the
con ese
American
compartir de
continent
experiencias
with
también con los
sharing
otros países.
experiences
Bueno, pues
with
ya
the other
tenemos en línea a
countries.
Michel, no sé si ya nos puede escuchar. Buenas
Okay, we
tardes.
have Mitchell in line.
Hola, buenas tardes, ¿me
Good
escuchan?
afternoon.
Sí,
Are you listening
perfectamente.
to
Muchas
me
gracias
good?
por
Qué bueno.
acompañarnos.
Yes,
Adelante.
thank you.
Muchas gracias. Voy a compartir
Thank you.
pantalla,
I'm
¿bueno?
going to share my
Perfecto.
screen.
¿Ven la presentación?
Sí.
Are you seeing the presentation now?
Perfecto, muy bien.
Yes.
Bueno,
Well,
muchas gracias. Es un
thank you
real
so much.
gusto y agrado
It's
estar
a
aquí.
real
Quiero agradecer,
pleasure to
obviamente, a la
be
Metropolitana
here. I
del
want to
Valle de
thank
Aburrá por
the
esta
Metropolitan
cordial
area
invitación
of
y a
El
todos los
Valley of
municipios
Aburrá and all the other
personas que nos escuchan.
municipalities and people that are listening to
Bueno, mi
us.
nombre es Michel
My
Carles, soy
name
jefe
is
de la Unidad
Michelle
Regional de
Carles.
Asuntos
I'm the
Internacionales
chief
del Gobierno
of
Regional Metropolitano de Santiago.
international businesses
Y
in
les quiero
Santiago,
presentar
and I want to
nuestro
present to
proyecto
you our
Centro Integrado de
project,
Gestión Regional,
Integrated
que en el
Center
fondo
of
es un
Regional
proyecto de Smart Cities
Management.
integral
It is
para la
a
gestión de
holistic
este
or
gobierno regional
comprehensive
metropolitano de Santiago.
approach in Santiago.
Para que tengan algunos antecedentes
So
con
you
respecto a
have
la
a little
región,
bit of background.
Santiago, bueno, es la capital
Santiago
de
is the
Chile, es el mayor
capital
polo
of
administrativo y
Chile,
económico,
is the greatest
consta de 7,2
administrative
millones de
and
habitantes,
economic center
concentra al
with
menos
7.3
40% de la
million
población del
inhabitants,
país, también concentra el
40% of the
45%
population
del
of the
Producto Interno
country,
Bruto.
45% of the
Quiero mencionar algunos
GDP.
datos
I
desde el
want
punto
to
de vista
mention some
ambiental,
data
el cambio
from the
climático, que también
environmental
son bien
point of
importantes y
view
van
that
a
are
ver un
very
poquito más adelante
important
que
and
son
that you're
de los
going to
temas más
see
importantes
later
del Centro Integrado.
from the
La
integrated
cuenca del río
center.
Mapocho,
The
que corre la
basin
región
of the
del río
Rio
Maipo,
Maipo
abastece el
supplies
90%
90%
de
of the
la
agricultural
proporciona el
surface
80% de agua
and
potable
gives
de la región.
80%
A
of the
pesar de
potable
enfrentarnos
water
una mega sequía de
despite
más de
10
10 años,
years
la cuenca del
of
río
a
Maipo,
drought.
si más o menos la tuviese que representar, más
If I
adelante
would
mostrarlo,
have,
lo voy a mostrar un poco
I'm
mejor,
going to
es
show it
casi el
better
área que
later.
representa la
It's the
región.
area
Por lo
that
tanto, esta
represents the
cuenca es sumamente
region. So
importante
this basin
en
is
términos de
very
gestión hídrica y
important
abastecimiento de agua
in
potable.
potable water,
Importante mencionar que el 97%
drinkable
de la
water.
población regional vive en el área urbana.
97% of the regional
¿Ya? Y lo otro
population
es
lives in
importante
the
mencionar que
urban
el
area,
52%
and
de la población se encuentra en áreas
52%
de
of the
amenaza climática.
population is
Amenaza
in
climática
areas of
entendamos
climate
inundaciones,
threat. That
deslizamientos
means
de terreno,
flood,
olas de
landslides,
calor,
waves
incendios
of
forestales,
heat,
por nombrar algunos, ¿cierto? Y un
forest
31%
fires,
de la
and
población afecta a
31%
áreas con amenaza
is
alta y muy alta.
threatened
Por lo tanto,
in the
los riesgos
high or very
climáticos son
high area.
importantes
So the
y van
climate
a ser
challenges
datos
are
sumamente
very
importantes para la gestión
important,
del
and
centro
that
integrado.
is going to have to be considered in the integrated
Como ustedes pueden ver
center.
en esta imagen,
Like you see in this
esta
image,
mancha un poquito beige
this
rosácea es
beige
el perímetro general de la
perimeter
región
is
metropolitana de
the
Santiago, y
region
en
of the
rojo
metropolitan
pueden
area
ver
of
el área urbana, el
Santiago,
área densa.
and
Por lo
in
tanto,
the red we see
se
the
puede dimensionar
urban
y es importante
area.
también tener en cuenta que hay una
So we have to
importante
consider an
población, más bien
important
área rural,
population in rural
que
areas
hacerse cargo. Si
that
bien
has to
la
be in
mayor cantidad de
charge.
población se
The
concentra en el área
greatest
urbana,
population
tenemos
is
muchos habitantes que
located in
están
the
viviendo en este contexto rural, por lo tanto
urban
también es muy
area,
importante tomarlo en
but there
cuenta.
are a lot of people living in the rural
Quiero también
area
mencionar los
as
niveles de
well.
gobernanza que tenemos
The levels
en
of
la
governance
región.
that
Ya
we
tenemos
have in the
cierta
region,
complejidad en
we have
términos de
certain
gobernanza.
complexity in
Tenemos
governance.
un gobernador
We have
regional,
one regional
tenemos 34
governor,
consejeros
we have
regionales electos,
34
al igual que el
regional
gobernador, y
advisors,
52
and 52
alcaldes
mayors.
también electos. Por lo tanto, hay una coordinación
So there is a coordination, intersectorial coordination among them. It's a little bit complex that makes it even more necessary to have a strong technological muscle behind with an integrated center. This is a flow chart, and here this is the regional. This is an example of a flow chart of how it works in the environment, and in the bottom, the Secretariat of Transportation. Is for you to understand the complexity, and I believe it is similar in other countries of Latin America. So it's an institutional challenge, and it's interesting to approach when we install a project like this one, an integrated center to coordinate all the information, capturing some interesting data, like I mentioned.
This integrated center has to be in charge of a problem that is general and has to do with governance that will allow us to articulate the different institutions and services to generate greater social equity, to be in charge of pollution, territorial inequality, problems of mobility, etc. This is the final matrix that orders methodologically the design and how the integrated center works, how we are going to have an integrated model of regional management. We're going to have governance, how to react towards the emergency, and a governance in normal times. How do we plan the region? How do we take this data to plan the region in a better way? The central axis, the regional strengthening, the coordination and integrated planning. The objective is to include institutionality and promote evaluation of public policies from the logic of the people and towards the people, and to integrate information from and towards the citizen. And when I say information, we are speaking about information taken through science. That is why technology is so important. The transversal optics are going to be resilience, climate change, and territorial actions and territorial ordering. We're going to have several plans, a communication plans, protocol generation, processing integration, a master plan, a plan of traceability and initiatives of evaluation, and the diffusion plan. So the integrated center, what it wants is to connect and cooperate among the different entities, public and private, that are going to be participating in the data collection of the territory. It's going to be a model that will let us constitute an information network, an interactive model that is going to be able to deliver information to the citizen. And I want to emphasize in the collaborative model. I want also to emphasize in the new law that began a few years ago. It's the 21074 law that wants to strengthen the local governments, the regions. It's a law for strengthening the regions of the country, and it helps to govern the people and to center from the ministry to the regional areas, in some specific areas, handing over the competences and the fusions that have to have coherence and have to do with territorial and sponsoring of productive activities and social and cultural development to help make decisions in the territory. So this is a hierarchy chart. Here we see the regional government, and in the bottom we see the integrated center of regional management, decision making, and the citizens. So this is a transversal axis. That is why the arrows go back and forth, where the regional government begins to operate among the different axes and the different instruments, and it's the territorial plan of ordering and how the politics influence and how it's going to influence with all the convenes, with all the agreements. And also here we have the budget of the project and the and the project of
Entonces, para reforzar y para
to
recapitular
strengthen
ciertos conceptos, la gobernanza en el fondo del centro
The
integrado
governance at
tiene que ver
the
con la gobernanza de la
end is
contingencia,
related with
¿cierto?
the governance of
Y
contingency,
tiene que ver
and it's
también
related
cómo
also
vamos
with
a
how
mejorar la
we are going
gobernanza
to create a
para mejorar la
governance to
planificación,
improve
la
the
preparación de toma de
planification, the
decisiones basadas en evidencia. Esto
preparing
es bien importante,
these based
¿cierto?
on the
Va a ser
evidence.
una musculatura que nos va a permitir
This is a
reaccionar
muscle that
frente a una
has
crisis,
allowed
frente
us
a un
to
terremoto, ¿cierto?
react
Del simetría de terreno,
facing
frente
earthquakes
a una inundación y por lo
and
tanto salvar vidas
to
en
save
tiempo
lives
real.
in
En el
real
fondo,
time.
no hay ningún segundo que perder
There's
en este
no
tipo de
second to
situaciones,
lose in
pero
these type of
también nos va a
situations, but
permitir
it's also allowed
repensar
us
la ciudad,
to rethink
planificar
the city
mejor y
plan
tomar mejores decisiones
and
para el
make better
desarrollo
decisions for the
equitativo y
development
armónico
of
de nuestra región.
our region.
En el sentido de los impactos y tensiones que
In
ya
the
he mencionado,
impacts,
obviamente tenemos los terremotos, inundaciones como
we
seres humanos,
have
ya les comenté,
earthquakes,
pero también tenemos
floodings,
las tensiones que no tienen que ver solamente
slides,
con las consecuencias del cambio climático,
and
sino que tienen que ver con
they're
la
not only
inequidad social, la
related
fragmentación del
with
territorio, ¿cierto? Y
issues
los problemas
with
de movilidad, de
climate
modo de
change. They're
transporte,
also due to
de
social
seguridad y,
inequalities.
por supuesto,
So
la contaminación atmosférica,
we have
problemas de calidad del aire
atmospheric contamination in terms
Santiago,
of
en la región metropolitana,
in
son
the
sumamente importantes. Entonces,
metropolitan area of
este centro
Santiago. This
integrado,
is
la
very
idea es
important.
que
So
en el
this
fondo pueda
integrated
contar
center
con datos, ¿cierto?
will
Y
have
que hoy
data.
día, en el fondo, como les mostraba en esta
And
slide
as I
anterior
showed you in the
del
previous
organigrama
slide,
institucional, están diseminados en
to
cada una de las instituciones.
disseminate in
Tengamos un
each
cerebro, ¿cierto? Regional que va a ser este centro integrado
these
que va a permitir
entities
almacenar
to
recoger
save,
todos los datos en un solo
gather all
reservorio.
the data in just one center,
Como
one
como les
brain.
explicaba, en el
So as I
fondo, las
explained,
ópticas transversales
we have transversal
sumamente
optics,
importante
which are very
que las
important
recalquemos,
to
¿cierto? La óptica de la
highlight
resiliencia,
the
el cambio
resilience
climático
optic,
y el ordenamiento
climate
territorial.
change, and territorial
En
ordainment.
términos de la
In
resiliencia,
terms
es
of
importante
resilience,
explicar
it is
que
important to
nosotros contamos con una
understand that
estrategia de
we have
resiliencia,
a
ya
resilience
que
strategy
se ha en el fondo
that
declarado como
has
el
been
plan operativo,
declared
es
as the
decir, una
operative
bajada a acciones concretas en términos de
plan.
nuestra estrategia regional de desarrollo, y esta tiene 6 pilares.
It has 6
En el fondo,
pillars.
el primer pilar
The
tiene
first
que ver con
pillar is related
Santiago como una región
with
integrada
Santiago is an
segundo,
inclusive
Santiago una región
region,
limpia y sustentable, Santiago
and
tercero, Santiago región segura,
we
cuarto,
want
Santiago región preparada,
so we have 6 pillars: Santiago, an integrated and inclusive region, a safe region, and a clean region and sustainable region, forest prepared region. So the climate change problems will monitor the effects, the air control quality. The region is at the Andes mountain chain. It has a complex geography. So it is very important to monitor all the risks due to our geography. So in the transversal opticals, we have the territorial ordainment. We have challenges related with the territorial ordainment regional plan to verify and ordain that will delimit the risk areas of the region. And this instrument will also be nourished from the data of the integrated center. We have an objective image, or PRMS, that articulates the planning and the territorial ordainment plan of the municipalities. We have different planification levels, so they have to be presented in this center, and the metropolitan areas will be within the law as a strengthening project that will allow to create metropolitan areas, which are areas where there's continuous infrastructure growth, where we can allow a specific governance, for example, residues recollection. This is a very important topic, and these are new topics in general that are going to be handled due to this new law. So we are talking about sustainable development of the region, which is denominated by its acronym in Spanish ODS.
We are doing a good planification of these, and of course, as I was telling you before, the strategic origin, as you can see on the right, this is a graph that shows, a cartoon that shows how we're going to work in order to improve the functioning of the city. So here I'm going to stop in a couple practical examples. For example, how can an operational unit work at the time of an accident? If there's a report in the process map, there's a collision on the road, so there's an alert on different apps or social networks. So there's this is replicated in the information media. So they finish the process, and at the end we see all the mechanisms that were active, helping the people, the police, the communication within the region and the municipality, and then how the process finished. So this is something very punctual that can be extrapolated to something of a natural origin or environmental origin. So this is a map of the process within the planification area. As I mentioned, how this governance, how we plan, this is within the resilience strategy in the second pillar, implementation of the roads for bicycles. So we need the participation of the citizens. So we have apps used by the people with their smartphones, and the network of bicycle routes will show the risk areas, if there are problems on the road, of the infrastructure. They will tell us where they are departing, where they are going, the final pointer arrival point. And this allows in territorial intelligence, so we can improve all our plans and to prioritize, for example, projects or areas that can require urgent solutions, where we can invest, where we can benefit the most needed citizens using artificial intelligence and technology of the 21st century. This is my presentation. Thanks for your time, and I am available if you have any questions.
Bueno, pues un agradecimiento muy especial
Well,
a Michelle
thanks
Carles,
to Michelle Carles, the representative of Santiago, Chile, who is sharing the experiences and the challenges in this territory, especially to the climate conditions, everything that takes place in this region that has a considerable amount of inhabitants. And they are achieving many goals. Through a regional management center, they show how technology is serving the governance of processes such as climate change and territorial attainment. So it's important to consider all these aspects in order to understand the dynamics of the territories, how they change, and how the governments are allowing a better quality of life for the citizens. So now we are going to another continent, Southeast Asia. We have a country that will share their main challenges as an intelligent territory and what they're doing in this area, where there are beaches and tropical forests and conditions that seem difficult, but they are using in favor to advance in terms of intelligent cities. So we're going to talk next with Rosary bin Muhammad. She is a member of the Real Institution of Agri-Missions from Malaysia. Please recall that Agri-Missions is a professional that dedicates himself to the systems of information, parcelary information. They identify, measure, and do the evaluation of these public-private spaces, both in urban or rural areas. And with him, we're going to talk about these registries.
la
So let's
ponencia
see if
de
we
nuestra
have
invitada para que nos cuente
this
acerca de esos temas. Y es
guest.
que, Juan Camilo, en este
Juan
país tienen un
Camilo,
reto muy interesante porque desde
there's
hace
a great
algunos años
challenge in these
vienen
countries.
trabajando en la
They are
construcción
working
de
in the
unas islas
construction
que
of
prácticamente las están
islands
empezando
that
desde cero
are
y de una vez están
being
aprovechando
started
en
from
trabajarlas
scratch,
como territorios
and to work with
inteligentes,
them
con
as
energía
intelligent
renovable, con unos medios de
territories with
transporte, pues
renewable
que tienen que ver
energy,
también con el
with
cuidado del medio ambiente, con el
transportation
uso
means
de la
that will take care
información
of
y
the
la
environment
tecnología.
using
Así que
information
eso los ha hecho
technology. So
merecedores en el año
these
2019
made
de un
them
importante reconocimiento, el premio global Green
they
Smart
got
City.
the
Así que, Juan
recognition
Camilo,
of
un
the Green
territorio que tiene
Smart
mucho por
City
compartirnos.
Bueno,
acknowledgement.
pues vamos a ver lo que tiene por decir
So
este líder de
please,
Malasia.
let's
Él es
share what this
Rosalí bin Muhammad, miembro de la
leader
Real
from
Institución
Malaysia is telling
de
us,
Agrimensores de
Rosalie
este país asiático.
bin Mohamud.
Good morning to everyone.
Buenos
It is
días a
an honor and
todos. Es
privilege
un
for me
honor
to
y
be here
privilegio
today
estar
to
aquí.
deliver a presentation on Sbram Pride Smart City Experience. I would like to congratulate the organizer, the Metropolitan area of the Abura Valley and Icle, Colombia. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Sbram Pride has a clear and compelling vision to be a city that is resilient, inclusive, green, competitive, and technology-driven smart city. The outcome from this vision that can be expected by the people in Sbram Pride is the transformation of Sbram Pride into a smart, sustainable city by year 2030. And that is a carbon neutral. The world is at a crossroad, but we have chosen the way forward to localizing the SDGs and making the aspiration of SDGs become real to communities, households, and individuals. SDGs, which are an international framework agreed by world leaders in 2015, aiming to end poverty, fight inequality, and address climate change. In order to achieve Sbram Pride vision, new corporate target has been set, making Sbram Pride a low-carbon city by 2020 through 50% reduction of carbon emission from 8 ton carbon dioxide equivalent to 4 ton carbon dioxide equivalent, and a reduction of waste production by 50% from 1.6 kilo per person per day to 0.8 kilo per person per day. In addition, Sbram Pride is also striving towards becoming a carbon neutral city by 2030, which is 10 years from January 2020, and become a zero carbon city by 2050. MBSP is also committed and pledged to work with other cities and countries in the world in addressing climate change and to keep global warming 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial level. The best methodology was to go back to community, go through the process of buy-in, gain trust, use simple language, tell a true story, and find solutions to local issues by using technologies. Local issues in Sbram Pride are flash floods, traffic congestion, service delivery, safety, economic situation impacted by pandemic COVID-19. Eventually, people-centric digital priorities were set: smart environment, smart communities, smart government, smart mobility, and smart economy. A smart environment, away from Sbram Pride is mostly flatland and below sea level, which prompted flash flood whenever heavy rain with intensity above 150 millimeter and clash with high tide above 2 meters. Sbram Pride has spent 44.48 million Malaysian ringgit since 2008 to build infrastructure such as construction of new drain, widening and deepening existing drain, build 21 pump houses and install 79 pumps to pump water out to the sea whenever high tide. A way forward is to explore the possibilities of converting the existing retention pond to underground stormwater storage. IoT technologies will be used widely to regulate excess water which has been retained underground water storage for watering the city landscape. Spark was invented to monitor water level in a monsoon rain. Sensors were fixed at a strategic location before trash screen and a few kilometers upstream. Spark will help to reduce manpower, overtime claim, and will be a fast response to flood issues. Integrated flood and pump monitoring system will be invented. The system using IoT technologies allow information and flood forecasting, rainfall data, pump status to be shared with residents, top management, and also for greater public participation. A smart environment on sustainable energy. Electricity supply is one of the biggest carbon dioxide emitters globally. To keep global warming well below 2 degrees Celsius, renewable energy, LED street lamps, electric vehicle will be mainstream in Suvarnabhumi within 10 years from 2020. The Suvarnabhumi City Council guidelines require housing developers to install LED street lights in all new development. Until now, 27,167 street lamps were replaced with LED street lamp, which cost 33.4 million Malaysian ringgit, and 14,061 street lamp will be replaced in 2022. Suvarnabhumi City Council has always been committed to making Suvarnabhumi a neutral carbon city by 2030. A few programs was introduced, SARE, i.e. Supply Agreement, Renewable Energy, Incentive Fast Track, Renewable Energy for commercial bidding also will be given fast track, and GBI certified for residential and commercial building in Eco City Batu Kawan. A list of 31 city council buildings had been identified for evaluation, whether they could be installed with solar panel to generate electricity or otherwise. City council premises take the lead. A headquarters in Bandar Perda, branch office, and 2 sport complexes were installed with solar panel to supply at least 15% of energy needed by the building. The solar panel installation will let City Council sell excess power generated by the panel to National Electricity Board and get energy credit one-on-one-off basis to further reduce its electricity bill. Suvarnabhumi City Council is not alone. Private sectors have joined hands, sponsored solar panel installation on school rooftop for education, and at the same time electricity saving. This contribution provided students with opportunity to learn about renewable energy from solar in a practical manner. Property developers who build building with 50% renewable energy will enjoy a fast-track approval on their development plan upon application. IoT technologies were used widely to monitor energy saving, system faulty, real-time performance, remote notification, which make system running smoothly and efficiently. Smart city needs smart community and public participation. Pandemic COVID-19 forced city mayor and urban dwellers to come up with urban solutions that will make life better and more prepared for crisis. They are aspiring to create greener spaces in urban areas, improve connectivity, reduce congestion, be more adaptive and smarter with technology. Suvarnabhumi has implemented gender responsive participatory budgeting to make sure every cent spent is to be people-centric and beneficial to all walks of life. MBSP is committed to gender equality. The marginalized group were given equal chance to participate and be a partnership for the goal. One Baby One Tree project was intended to launch a drive that will empower children to learn more and appreciate the environment, to learn how to utilize it while protecting it. The first upcycle park in Malaysia was introduced in the country and it gains record Malaysia Book of Record. The park benefited 30,000 people staying around the area, mostly low-income groups. The park was decorated with upcycle structure, creatively constructed by Wira Orange or Orange Champion, a nickname given to our workers. When we first heard about koi fish could we live in drainage in Shimabara, Japan, Kyushu Island, a team from various technical backgrounds led by landscape architect was set up to conceptualize and make it a reality. Monsoon drain along Jalan Perda Barat was chosen and now is 90% completion. It has a dual objective. Firstly, it will add more location to Seberang Perai recreational list, and secondly, for research and development to clean up drainage in Seberang Perai. Smart mobility in Seberang Perai. Seberang Perai has announced 20-minute neighborhoods where the needs of residents such as housing, offices, restaurants, parks, hospital, recreational places, and cultural places can be accessed within 20-minute walking or cycling. Bandar Pedah was chosen as a pioneer and District Mosque has been identified as nerve center of activity. In addition, Seberang Perai plans to create 6 20-minute neighborhoods before 2030, where business centers, recreational parks, and mosques will be the nerve center of activity. Seberang Perai will have 7 central business districts before 2030, where one can shuttle between them in 20 minutes through public transport. The first and the last mile are still essential part of daily commute. Bus, rail, and metro services often cover the main part of trip to and from work, but people still need the first walk, drive, or use another way to get to and from the nearest station or stop. Seberang Perai will do a lot to facilitate access to public transport system by creating urban spaces that are well connected. Walking and cycling to and from hubs and stops will be easier and more pleasant. Shifting to walking and cycling and public transport will have a domino effect on carbon reduction and key to sustainable urban transport. Smart Traffic Analytic or STARS is a system that alerts a field officer via SMS and a telegram. Alert will be on the power failure, on the traffic lights for repair, and also for the control of street lighting. The smart people will also come with a smart government. People were locked down during pandemic COVID-19, forced Seberang Perai City Council to provide 100 services which are all available at central counter virtually on cyber counter. Seberang Perai uses online e-wallet cashless platform, a one step ahead for citizens to access major government services quickly and easily. MBSP QR bill was introduced. It is a scan and pay function for the purpose of payment MBSP assessment tax online. In line with MBSP aspiration to become low carbon city and smart city by 2022, 3 steps to update payment, scan code, choose update or pay, and send it to MBSP. MBSP also, or Subang Pride City Council also introduced Cyber Bill. It will be issued via smart monitoring, smart messaging system to smartphone, and taxpayer can use the link provided to check and make payment anywhere, anytime desired. A live chat help desk was introduced to facilitate user to use MBSP online services. A call center was also introduced for citizens to make a complaint of the municipal service in the city. A joint program between Subang Pride City Council and private company Axiata Digital to use e-wallets with branding booth. It will encourage a cashless transaction for payment of MBSP store rental bills. A free wireless initiative was also introduced to encourage the public in a wet market and also the food complex to go on cashless transaction. Subang Pride is also emphasizing on circular economy that improve the efficiency of urban and rural operation. Therefore, MBSP or Subang Pride City Councils has immediately declared the circular economy and digital economy as the focus of economic development in Subang Pride during and post COVID-19. The Subang Pride Circular Economy Roadmap was launched on 19 September 2020, 6 months after Movement Control Order was announced by Federal Government of Malaysia on 18 March 2020. The Circular Economy Initiative offered to solve problems and not to shift problems or negatively impact other environmental or social dimensions. The concept of net positive impact or NPI simply means putting more back into the environment or society rather than company take it out, with a resulting positive corporate carbon footprint. Circular economy can help Subang Pride to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic, while the spillover activities will create domino effects on carbon reduction. To drive impact and action, it is essential to provide stakeholders with knowledge, incentive, and alternative model. This process can start from the very beginning of a production life cycle, with smart product design and production processes to help save resources, avoid inefficient waste management, and create new business opportunities. Policymakers and companies and civil societies need to work together to accelerate the transition to a circular economy. Subang Pride has taken an integrated approach to encourage waste separation, focusing on the 4 factors that underpin success: economic incentive, customized facilities, engaging communities, and legal enforcement. Subang Pride focus on roadmap post-COVID economic focus on 3 aspects: waste to protein, waste to compost, and waste to energy, so that all domestic waste will be treated and generated to the energy or compost or protein. Winning smart parking for contactless parking payment is relevant during pandemic COVID-19. Subang Pride City will install 24,000 surface-mounted IoT sensors before end of 2020. City Council has CCTV control room with to monitor CCTV all over Suvarnabhumi Pride, which are able to detect vehicle number plates, vehicle counting, illegal parking, illegal dumping, and facial recognition. The outcome from this Suvarnabhumi Pride Smart City program, the Suvarnabhumi Pride has the highest recycling rate in my country, Malaysia, with 52.16%. Domestic waste was reduced from 263,989 tons in 2019 to 245,770 tons in 2020. Average 15,000 trees planted every year. Per capita carbon emission was reduced to 6.3 ton carbon dioxide equivalent in 2020 compared to 8 tons carbon dioxide equivalent in 2016, a reduction of 21.62% or 4.32% annually. Per capita carbon emission during MCO was decreased by 8.2% in 2020 compared to 2019. Cumulative reduction in carbon emission from 2016 to 2020 was 14.25 million ton carbon dioxide equivalent. Stay safe, stay strong. Thank you very much.
Un agradecimiento muy especial
Thanks,
para
very
Rosalín
special
Bin
thank to
quien nos
Rosalín
acompañaba
Bin
con su
Buhamur
ponencia desde
with his
Malasia, un
lecture from
ejemplo, Juan Camilo, de
Malaysia,
toda esa
an
transformación que
example
están
of the
logrando a
transformation
pesar
they're
de lo
achieving,
golpeados que
even
están
though
debido a la pandemia
they
del
were hit
COVID-19.
hardly
Usted lo decía al
by
inicio,
COVID-19
difíciles
pandemic.
condiciones para
Yes,
ellos, pero los
hard
han sabido
conditions for
aprovechar
them,
muy bien y
but
ya lo
they
veíamos
are
con
used
todas
them,
esas
and you can see all
iniciativas y
these initiatives and experiences,
experiencias a las que nos hemos
experiences
sumado
that
el día de hoy
we have
desde lo
added
local
up
y
to from
también, por supuesto,
locally
desde lo
and
internacional. Y yo creo,
internationally.
Linda, y a todas
And
las personas que
Linda,
están
I
conectadas
believe,
en
and
este
all
primer
of those who are
Metropolitano de Ciudades
connected in this
Inteligentes, que
first
ha llegado el momento de ir haciendo
Metropolitan
un balance
Forum
para
of
finalizar esta
Intelligent
tercera
Cities,
jornada.
we are
Por esa
able to
razón,
make a
saludamos a
balance.
esta
So
hora
that's
a
why
Hernán
we want
Elejalde,
to
el líder de
say
sistemas
hi to
de
Hernán
información de la
Elejalde.
Subdirección de Planeación
He
Integral del Área
works in the
Metropolitana
Metropolitan
del Valle de Aburrá. Nuevamente,
area
gracias por
of
acompañarnos.
El
¿Y qué
Valle de
podemos decir
Aburrá.
entonces de
So
esta tercera
what can
jornada?
we say about this third
Linda,
journey?
Juan Camilo,
Linda, Juan Camilo.
agradecerle
I would like to thank,
inicialmente
first
de
of
parte
all,
del área
from the
metropolitana
metropolitan area
a los más de 800
to
personas
the
que nos
over 800
acompañaron ya
people
hoy en nuestro
that
tercer
were
día de este
here
foro,
today in our third
Metropolitano
day
de
of the
Ciudades
first Forum of
Inteligentes.
Intelligent Cities.
Igualmente agradecerle a los
And
ponentes
also
del día de
thank
hoy.
the
Hoy tuvimos
speakers.
ponencias
We
de
had speakers from
Malasia,
Malaysia,
Nuremberg en Alemania.
Nuremberg in
También
Germany.
estuvimos
We also
escuchando
we could
personas
listen
de
to people from Latin
Latinoamérica,
America, Peru,
Brasil,
Brazil,
también estuvo México, también nos acompañaron
Mexico, Santa Cruz,
y también nos
Bolivia,
acompañaron dos ponencias
and
aquí en la
two
parte local,
lectures
en los municipios pues, del área metropolitana.
from the metropolitan
Yo quiero,
area.
digamos, no enfocarme
I would like
en
not
cada
to
una de las
focus
ponencias,
on each
sino,
of the
digamos,
presentations.
básicamente
I
hablar
would like
de
to
dos o
speak
tres
basically of two or
conceptos,
three
básicos que me
basic
quedaron hoy
concepts that are
para
very clear to
reflexionar
me
con la
today,
gente.
just to
El
make a
primero de
reflection.
ellos es,
The
pues,
first
hoy
of
el
them
día era
is
más como
today we
mirar,
were
el
going to
tema de las
look
ciudades
at the intelligent
inteligentes enfocadas al tema de la
cities
sostenibilidad y el tema
focused on
ambiental.
sustainability
Entonces,
and
pudimos
environmental
ver,
topics. How we could see that
ponencias donde, como por ejemplo en
we
el
had
municipio de
presentations,
Bello,
for example, in
vienen
Bello.
trabajando este tema
We,
con un área
they
tan
have
bella
been
como es el Cerro
talking
Quitasol
about this,
y
working in
haciendo
the
un trabajo
Quitasol
muy
Hill
fuerte
and
ambiental en lo que es el
working
Parque
very
Tuliospina,
hard in the
donde
Tuliospina
ahí,
Park,
digamos,
where
va a haber una,
there
digamos,
will be,
donde la gente
where
pueda
people
disfrutar de
will
unos
be able to
espacios
enjoy open spaces,
ambientales
environmental
o amigables
spaces,
con el
or
medio
friendly,
ambiente y
environmentally
cómo
friendly
el
spaces,
municipio concibe
and
esos
how the
espacios como un
municipality
territorio
conceived these
inteligente.
spaces as
Igualmente,
intelligent
en
territories.
Santa Cruz, y cómo
Also,
nos
and
decían que en el
how
municipio
they
van a
were
construir
telling
más de
us that they are going to
400.000
build
metros de
over
espacios públicos,
400 meters
donde
of square meters
el
of
objetivo
public
es llegar a
spaces, and the
5
objective
metros
is to have 5
por
meters
persona, y como en Santa Cruz
per person. And in Bolivia, this is, they have a higher indicator, it's 14 meters per person. Something interesting in Santa Cruz, how they have been building public spaces that will go to extremes or to the of the city, go to everybody in the city. So that's the first reflection, how cities using technologies such as LED or mobility with gas vehicles, how they impact creating a better quality of life and improving the environment. Second point is related to what I was mentioning. Why making public equipment or creating public equipment in different spaces that we're used to doing in the downtown in each metropolitan area. For example, Medellin and the 9 municipalities. In Medellin, we can have schools or public spaces that are better than those found in Caldas or Barbosa, which are the ends. So there was a question that I think was very important, asking how can we warranty intelligent cities building schools, how we consider this topic. So the reflection is guided to intelligent territories or cities is when we seek equity in the territory. And equity, let's not say some areas or municipalities with greater growth and others that don't grow. So the metropolitan area is a tool or an instrument to bring this equality. How Medellin provides greater resources and invests in other municipalities like Caldas and Barbosa. And closing the inequality gap, we make this intelligent territory more intelligent, like Santa Cruz is doing. So if we build a school in Caldas or a school in Barbosa with good quality like those we have in Medellin, the people from Barbosa, people from Caldas won't have to come and seek for these spaces in Medellin. Same thing that's been done in Santa Cruz in Bolivia. So since people don't have to move to the city, we can improve no use of more vehicles, less CO2 emissions, less traffic, and people will be able to find close to them and satisfy their needs, such as education. So if we bring equality to these territories, we are building intelligent cities. And the last topic or third reflection would be centered on the differences that we sometimes see among more developed countries like Germany, where they have already been working for a longer period of time in this topic of mobility, a more intelligent mobility. And it's like how in Mexico City they are working this digitalization of the experience of people, so I'm not criticizing you who have some papers in your hand, but less papers we have, we improve, we help the environment. So by 8,500 pages that like those you have in your hands, there's one less tree. So if every day we have more technology, we get close to technology, to the citizens with the technology, like in Mexico, having the history, the chart of people, like in Colombia, the car taxes are all electronic, but in Mexico City also the driver's license is also electronic. So if we get these or approach these, we will be able to have a better environment, because if we print less paper or we use less paper, there will be less trees we will have to cut. So thank you for your input, Hernán Elejalde. He's the leader of systems of the metropolitan area. Thanks for your comments, and thank you all, and all the people who are connected, please, tomorrow. This will continue, they will grow. These presentations will listen to the experiences of Barcelona, which is one of the worldwide reference points. Johannesburg will listen to the experience of Medellin. It's also important to listen to know what we're doing from Medellin. We'll listen to the Ministry of Technologies from Colombia, in TIC, how they conceive an intelligent territory for Colombia. So I believe tomorrow we will close in a great manner, Linda, Juan Camilo, and we hope that these 800 people that were here today can duplicate them tomorrow. So we have a great closure of this first international forum. Hernan, thank you very much. Juan Camilo, tomorrow we have a great closure. Yes, we have a great closure with national and international guests to have a great ending of this first Metropolitan Forum of Intelligent Cities. Thank you all for being with us today. Linda, as always, a pleasure. Juan Camilo, thank you, and thanks to all the people from production, from the metropolitan area of the Valley of Aburrá, to all the assistants. Thank you very much.
De Ciudades Inteligentes es un espacio para conocer las formas en las que la tecnología mejorará la calidad de vida de los ciudadanos. Será un evento gratuito con certificación de participación entre el 27 y el 30 de julio, que será transmitido a través de la plataforma de YouTube del área metropolitana del Valle de Aburrá. Inscríbete ya en www.metropol.go.co.
Área Metropolitana del Valle de Aburrá. Futuro sostenible.